Cheers to
Cheers.
205. Tea.
Water.
Oh, you guys know what I'm drinking.
No,
I know what I'm drinking. You got some super reds, super greens, and some flavorless protein with water.
My
It's
tea
not
is
that good.
oolong.
Oolong,
Big
like
Big miss. No Oberon on Oberon Day today.
today's Oberon Day.
Today's Oberon Day?
It is. Yes.
Well, I live in
Shit.
Texas, and people don't drink that here. So
Don't hurt us.
So does that mean last night the bar stayed open till midnight and then they tapped the kegs, or is that tonight? It's a thing
What?
they do.
I have no idea. I just saw like the big outpouring at Bell's in Kalamazoo. I just saw everybody like in winter jackets. That's one thing I think we do need to address. You've successfully done it again.
yeah, I
You
heard
killed
winter's
spring.
back. You
Killed
it again.
spring. It happens every year, dude.
It's kind of the bit. It's kind of the bit that I do, and everyone walks into the trap.
No, we don't all tell you not to do it. No one has a choice.
Dude, that wind was ripping through my stick figure body today. Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
I was like, just get me inside. Opening my car door, thought I was about to hit the person next to me because it just flew out of my hand. I was like, holy shit.
Are you on Road to 170 watch? What do you mean, skinny body?
I just haven't lifted in a while with the trip to
you look
Arizona.
like
And then
shit.
this week, I'm sitting from the neck up.
Yeah, you look like shit. There's no
Well,
doubt.
I did keep on my quarter zip from work today, which is not normal for me.
that
was
quarter
cold.
zip's probably looking baggy on you today.
I'm a coat rack.
Look
Walking
at I,
coat rack.
meanwhile, really filling out our clothes, looking jacked. You, no.
I need some super reds.
Here, you can have
Um,
some of my flavorless protein.
Yeah, WXYZ Detroit. Oberon was tapped at many bars at midnight overnight. So great call there, Cody. It's Oberon Day. I will be drinking some Oberon Light this summer. I will try it.
Me as well. Normal Oberon, I can only usually have like a couple of those because those will start sitting with you. So I'm happy to enjoy some Oberon Lights this year.
I'm a softie
Speaking of
when it
beers.
comes to beer. I don't know if this might be without Evan. He's the beer guy. I haven't. I was
I
telling
had a
Roast of this.
tasty beer this weekend.
What was it?
Look it up. I am looking it up.
This is probably the lowest consumption of beer I've ever been at in my life phases. I feel like I never, when I'm out, I always go for something different.
I've been going liquor everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Everywhere.
Same.
March.
But I got 2 months, so I was like, I need to find something else to like sip on.
Summertime will be
Floral
those
German hops. Very hoppy.
high noon teas, I think. Again, I'm going to run those back.
I don't really like those.
I do. I think they're so tasty.
I'm just
Cody's
trying
on
to
the
look
show
at the website.
tonight. Evan's in Hilton Head, South Carolina, spring breaking it up. I don't know how long he's down there for. I just know he wasn't. I think it started.
A week.
Must have started yesterday, probably because he was in East Lansing on Saturday, and then down there for a week. So Cody, thank you for filling in. Michigan State fan and also a closeted Wolverine Wilkins fan as well. So he really can speak to both sides of the Sweet 16.
With that, yeah.
Yeah, for me.
It's a historic show. I was looking back, the first time in the show's history that both teams made it to the Sweet 16 in the same year. Since
That's
we
only
started
happened 4 times in
recording.
the history of the programs. So not that surprising.
Really?
That cannot be
Oh, wow.
real.
That is true.
No.
Yeah, let me find it.
We, as a Michigan fan, we probably haven't been carrying our weight in that. Because
Correct.
considering Tom's made 16 in 27
Yeah.
years.
Yeah, no, it's you guys.
But we're back. So yeah, it was 2021 was the first year. Michigan made it to the Elite Eight. You guys got knocked out in the first 4 by the same team, UCLA. And then 2022, Michigan did not. Oh yeah, they did make it. They made it to the Sweet 16, Villanova. You guys lost to Duke. What was that? What was his
Won
last
by
name?
5 with
Gabe
5
Brown game.
minutes left.
Gabe Brown game. Just banging threes left and right against Paolo. And then 23, you guys made it to the Sweet 16. Michigan did not qualify for the tournament in 23 and 24. 24, you guys made it to the second round. And then here we are, 2025, both in the Sweet 16. So big night. Big night. Feels good.
It does
Really?
feel good, Grant. And I'm done celebrating. I'm on the game prep.
That's how Alex was when I hopped on the call. He was like, I was coming in singing, doing little jingles about the Sweet 16. He was like, this was expected for us. And I was like, well, there's got to be some relief, though, because you guys
No. I said it was relief more than like happiness. Like we needed to get to the Sweet 16 or else it's catastrophic failure.
True.
But we did. With ease, really.
So that's going to be the show in a nutshell. We'll do big picture storylines of the tournament, then our teams, previews for this week of the games on Friday. And then that's pretty much it. I don't think we'll have much time after getting into all that. Pookies and Dookies is back. So fast forward to that part if you want, if you're really waiting for Pookies and Dookies. But before we get into all that, Alex, start us off with what you did this past week besides watch basketball and changing our names.
Just making sure the basement rap crew all got their names. So, okay, what did
Can I
do
be G
this
dollar
week?
sign?
Why you don't like G string?
Yeah, no,
Too
my rap
inappropriate?
name was. I think my rap name was G Money. You can just
He's
put a
already
dollar
just-
sign.
He's already
think
feeling
it was
skinny. You
G-Baby.
don't have to call him a string, too.
That works too.
Right,
String was
right.
like the dodgeball thing. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I gotta
point,
keep
Cody.
Hold on. They all have to be the same, like style.
G
of
Money
writing.
1786.
Okay, what did I do this week? The tournament started. Boy, had a busy week at work.
I can't tell if that was sarcastic or not.
I did. No, I did. It was bad timing to have a busy
Alex
work
is in
week.
rare form tonight.
Just happy, just enjoying life on this mental health Monday. Yeah, I don't think I did anything during the week. No, I didn't. Saturday, I went to a bar, watched the game with some Aggies and Wolverines. One Wolverine, several Aggies, several Cougars. Not the women type.
But also,
Houston
the women.
Cougars. There were some Cougars there, yes. But
Can I be in the Cougar Friends group chat for the remainder of the tournament?
no.
Like, who is this guy that keeps saying roll Cougs and saying gifts every 25 seconds?
No.
Okay.
So yeah, did that. The Michigan
What
guy
bar?
was obnoxious. Little Woodrow's.
Okay.
I think I
What
mentioned
was the
that
TV
before.
situation at Little Woodrow's?
I don't know. I can see if I can find a picture.
I'm just curious. Like, was there enough
Little-
TVs?
Oh, there were a lot of TVs, Wilkins.
Okay.
In
A
Midtown?
lot. No, there's a lot of Little Woodrow's.
Shepherd?
No.
Edo?
Little
Yeah,
Bird at Little
Edo.
Woodrow's.
Edo.
They have a giant,
Wait, we've definitely shown this
Projector
place
outside.
before.
yeah, correct. This is like near where I work.
I got it.
Yeah, lots of tellies.
Oh, named after Woodrow Wilson.
Yeah, they got
That's what it
two
says.
two projectors outside. The one on the left that you can't really see is massive.
Right here.
Lights up the sky. Lights up the sky
Lights up.
because it's dark, and you can see it from far away. So yeah, went there. Was there putting a shift. I was there from about 3 to midnight.
This looks like Barbie Land or something. How are these colors this bright? There's no way this place looks this
Yeah.
vibrant. What is
It
this?
does. It does
No.
look like that. Yes.
How's the
Oh,
surround
yeah.
sound?
I don't think I like that.
Loud. But we were inside.
Are dogs allowed?
9 hours sitting in those metal chairs.
I was
sounds
indoors.
miserable.
I was inside.
Okay.
It was
Did you go
hot
down the
out.
slide?
No.
Is the slide always there? Oh shit, I'm on the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yes, that is always out there. No, I've never seen anybody.
This
go
is a
on.
carnival bar. What is this place?
It's a poppin' spot.
I need to
He was
visit
at the-
Houston. Not
he was
to
at
see
the
you, but to go to
Illinois
Little
County
Woodrow's.
Well, so did that. Put in a shift. I did not know the Houston Cougars have this weird cheer that they do. It sounds like, Grant, you already knew what it was.
When I said roll Cougs.
Yeah, they like go roll Cougs like every 20 seconds, and the whole bar was doing it like nonstop. Like every TV timeout, everybody's just screaming roll Cougs.
That's
I
awesome.
was like, this is pretty cool. But yeah, the one Michigan guy banging on the table every time Michigan would do something. So then everybody's just it's like, oh, who the guy? So then I had to start cheering for A&M because, I had no choice. I didn't want to be associated with
Yeah,
him.
that's probably why you started cheering for A&M.
It is. So yeah, that was a good time. Drink Love Street. That's the beer I drank.
Was that foreshadowing for later?
No, I just had several. They're great.
Was the bar tight and antsy when Gonzaga came back?
Oh yeah. Yeah, people were pacing. This one chick was surrender cobering just the whole time like this. Every like 20 seconds.
Do something.
Pretty much. That's what she was doing.
Did you tell her, hey, sorry, Toots, but that's Khalif Battle, Butler legend. He's going to get his.
No, I mean, secretly I was rooting for Gonzaga in the moment. I was like, come on. But not visibly or openly, I guess. And then Sunday, not too much, just relaxed, a little hungover. And then today, Mental Health Monday, I played golf this morning. Shot the usual, unfortunately.
82?
83. One worse. Bogeyed 18. And then I watched Kraven the Hunter, Evan's movie, as we discussed pre-show. For those who don't remember, Evan said it was unbelievable, all caps. For those who haven't seen it, maybe you're like, oh, maybe I should watch. No, I don't think you should. It is not unbelievable. It's not bad. The first hour is pretty good. The last hour, pretty bad. Overall, not a great movie. So there's that. And here we are.
A little golf tip for viewing. I watched. It was Spit and Chicklets and Bob Doe Sports did a scramble. They did two. They did one on the Bob Doe Sports channel. They did the one on Chicklets. I watched the Chicklets one. That was fantastic. That was
I basically saw Fat Perez at the golf course today, by the way.
Like a doppelganger, you're saying?
He had long curly hair. He was super fat, beard, weird flat bill hat, very low on his forehead.
You don't think it was him?
The guy with him looked like Bob Does Sports, and I was just staring at their group from like 2 holes over. I was like, "There's no way, right? There's no way, but there's a way."
So you don't know for sure?
No, I don't. But it was incredibly. But there's no like cameras or anything. I'm pretty sure they don't just play golf for fun at this point. Certainly not in Houston.
Yeah, those Chicklets guys would rattle me if I was golfing against them because I'm already not a good golfer. But oh my god, they were in Perez's ass.
They put him in a blender. Well, the best part was the dynamic where Bob and Fat Perez like turned on Joey through the round. Yeah. Joey was like they say in the videos, like he's the worst shit talker of all time. And he was just like getting so rattled by the hockey guys. And they're like, dude, Joey's a liability for our team right now because you can't figure it out. It was so good. It's worth a watch out. It's long. It's an hour and a half. It's basically Kraven the Hunter length, but probably better.
Put it out on the treadmill. That's what I do. I like watching those while I walk.
I had to do 1.5.
I should have watched Kraven the Hunter while I was running.
Would have ran faster with all the motivation, the action scenes. Okay, Cody.
Grant, did you recently follow Fox News on our social media account?
I don't think so, but it is March. Who knows?
Okay, now we know where you stand.
So last weekend I went to New York City. We went to upstate New York for a wedding.
It does say. Oh, Alex, you logged in. Okay, I was like, wait, sorry. It said there was a new login attempt. I thought we were getting hacked when you said that, but it's just you logging in.
It's just me on my laptop. Never logged in on my laptop.
Cody went to New York City. Incredibly rude. Go ahead.
On your part, yes.
No problem. So we went to a wedding upstate New York.
You sounded like a Chipotle worker right there.
No problem.
You know
good teaser. Teaser for my week.
No problem. No queso.
Okay, all right.
We're at Albany, New York. Where's upstate?
Lansing, New York.
Crown Jewel area. Actually, it was in Highland Falls, New York, just outside of West Point. So think like Poughkeepsie. We stayed in Fishkill.
Fishkill.
These sound like
Wow.
fake ass
Yeah.
places.
Yeah, no, these are all real places. Really nice area,
Fishkill.
actually.
Nice area.
Yep, right up there. Yeah,
Fishkill right here.
Down.
Great.
Yep,
Type
and
in
then down
Lansing,
to
New York.
See
No.
West Point down there.
It's a real place. Type it in.
Keep scrolling down. See West Point right on the water. So the wedding was actually at the Thayer Hotel right there.
Oh.
Beautiful.
It wasn't at the Church of Latter
Oh
Day.
my
Hotel.
God. This looks like a castle.
Yeah, that's where the
Wow,
reception was.
that's
There was
sick.
also
Jesus.
How
a.
much for that place?
We don't
Holy-
ask.
I have
We
no
don't
idea.
ask,
I was,
Alex. We don't
I was
ask.
gonna get into that. I've never like not belonged. I feel like I can fit in anywhere. I did not fit in there.
It's a floating sink. That's a floating sink.
Yeah,
This
so
place looks a little bougie.
the reception was there was their wedding reception. There was also like an army class reunion. So when we pulled in, there's like a guy that he's in the army and he's like, what are you doing here? Like kind of like what Wyatt does, I guess. And I was like,
What are you
we're
doing?
here for a wedding, and he just goes, all right, go ahead, and just like did not smile, did not seem cheerful. So I said, all right, I kind of don't feel welcome here, but so I parked, we walked in. Most
rental
unbelievable
car?
cocktail hour. What?
Rental car, drove, flew.
We drove. This is why I'm
Oh.
telling the story, because I had to drive home on Monday.
That's tough.
So drove in, parked, and then the whole time I was like, God, our wedding was like really underdone, because we went into their cocktail hour and we just had meat, cheese, vegetables. They had that, but they also had a buffet for his and hers. So they had soul food, a full buffet, like chicken and waffle bites, mac and cheese,
this is the
cornbread.
pre-dinner?
Yeah, pulled pork sliders, and then
You
she's
had
Italian.
food at yours before the...
Yeah, I
There
had
was
a lot
meat
of
and
like
cheese.
I had a lot of like
Yeah.
olives or pickles, I think, from those trays, if I
Yeah.
remember right.
It got scarfed out at our wedding.
I don't think I didn't get any.
No. And then she had like meatballs. There's 2 types of pasta, garlic bread. It was absurd. I was like, and then they were roaming around with appetizers. And every time they cleared a plate, they brought out a different one. There was like truffle mac and cheese bites, tuna tartare, like some fig pizza situation.
Tuna tartare.
I love
And just
tuna
pick,
tartare.
like one half of the wedding's black, the other half is New York City Italian. And I'm
What
a
a combo.
fair-skinned redhead. I was the only redhead
No.
there. So yeah, I mean, just did not feel in place. Good DJ, good vibes. I was the DD, so thankfully I didn't drink much, because we went into dinner and the dinner was plated. It was like crab cakes, salmon,
Gosh.
cream bar. So I was not feeling good. Bit of a tummy ache. There's so much
Yeah, I
food
was
there.
gonna say, that's some rich
can't
food.
drink. You cannot drink if you're eating all that.
No. The only thing I had was wine with dinner. They came around with wine.
Delicious. Great choice.
Went into the city. That was a good time. Throwback roots. Went to Essa Bagel. They've really expanded. There's a lot of Essa Bagels in the city now, so props to them. I mean, they're killing it. It's still as good as always.
I don't want them to lose that mom and pop feel though.
Yeah, we didn't
Good
end up
bagels.
going to the original one, but great bagel. I didn't go express line this time. I went sandwich, so I got bacon, egg, and cheese with scallion cream cheese.
No locks.
Very good. No locks. Page went locks.
I think if I had locks, I'd throw up at 9 a.m. or if
It's
like
a
for
Gillen
breakfast.
staple. It's a Gillen
Yeah.
breakfast staple.
smoked salmon.
Where would you get locks from? Jerry's Market in Tecumseh?
Boulevard
No, they have it at
Market, learn
Bush's.
ball.
No, they just have it
Bush's.
at Bush's, bro. Come on. It's
Bush
right
doesn't have
by
locks.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
it's
have
right
it
by
next
the
to the seafood. It's in a package.
Yep.
It's fake
Just in that
locks.
little front thing. No, I mean,
Yeah.
tastes good.
Yeah, I went to the city. The United Half Marathon was on Sunday, so it was kind of chaos because they run it across the Manhattan Bridge, up FDR, and then they cross in on 46th Street and go up Times Square all the way to Central Park. So people that didn't know how to get around, if you were stuck on one block, you legitimately couldn't cross the street unless you went all the way up to Central, like midway through Central Park and around.
Mm.
So that's what all the tourists were like freaking out, and the cops are like, "Oh, you just gotta wait till it's done to cross." Like,
Join in.
I was
Start
sitting there and
encouraging
I was
them to
like,
run faster.
we can just go under the subway, like out one side and out the other.
Yes.
And that, no problems. We stayed in Midtown, did a lot of walking. The only fun story, I guess, is when we were walking back to the hotel. We got breakfast and coffee, and we walked past a crime scene area. There was caution tape everywhere, and there was numbers on the ground, which I've never seen in real life. You only see that in the TV show.
The other guys, I remember vividly.
Yeah, like, oh, somebody either died here or something happened, And we ended up getting in an Uber later, and I was like, I need to know like what happened. And I Googled it, and it was like 8 a.m, like half an hour before we came through. A guy just walked by this guy in the street, dumped a Patron bottle with accelerant in it on him, and lit him on fire. And the guy went like 100 feet, I guess, and then somebody jumped out of a car with a fire extinguisher and extinguished him. The guy lived. But I was like,
just another day in New York City.
Just another day in New York.
Okay.
That's also when you said the subway. I feel like I've seen bad reviews of the subway in New York. Like it's gone to shit. So I was nervous for you when you said that.
It's gone to shit.
No,
it was already shit.
This was above
More
ground.
Oh.
Yeah, the other thing too is it was Saturday just before St. Patty's Day, so I felt like I was back in college. I'd never seen that many I didn't expect to see that many people in their 20s wearing green, just shit faced on the street. And then we were in Washington Square Park, and just an Irish band with like bagpipes and trombones was like marching through the city. So that it's just not a real place. And then drove home Monday. 9 hours. That was very fun. But it was also weird, like dragging our suitcases through the street to where we parked, and everybody's going to work at like 9 a.m. And then, this weekend, obviously basketball, but we'll get into that. And then I had to break up basketball on Saturday morning. I went and saw a movie. I saw Black Bag. Very good. I'd actually highly recommend that.
Black Bag, you say?
Black Bag. Steven Soderbergh movie. He made the Oceans movies. So Oceans 11, 12, 13.
Oh, I'm familiar.
I do like the first one.
This one's like an espionage thriller type deal. Like kind of Who's the Rat? It's got Michael Fassbender in it.
Black Bag. This was in theaters?
Yeah. Kate Blanchett.
97% on the Rotten Tomatoes.
Pierce Brosnan. Good film. Good. Hot dude. Lots of hot people in it, actually.
Pierce Brosnan trying to revive his spy career?
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
They also,
who is Marissa Abella?
Highly recommend that, too.
Oh, she's in she's in Industry. I just watched that show. She is okay.
Yep.
She is
just
fine.
And then
I will be watching this movie.
It takes a spy to hunt a spy. Black Bag. Oh.
Picked up some Muck's Pub. I got a chicken quesadilla and some onion rings, and just came home and sat down and watched some ball.
Hell yeah.
So can't complain. Good weekend all around.
Yeah, that does sound nice.
I have bad news, Cody, since you're here, but
AG first.
The first Taco Bell in 127 days was consumed.
Wow.
Thursday, March Madness.
It's not bad news for me.
Well, I felt like we were in it together.
No, that was just last year. It's 2025, man.
Oh, so Wilkins has been eating Taco Bell.
Okay. I've had Taco Bell.
No, I had it one time because I went to the one at Tecumseh because I was like, I have to see what it looks like inside because that guy hit it. And half of it is boarded up. Like you can't. There's no tables or really anything in there.
Yeah, I could not believe that picture. By the way,
I don't know what happened. Absurd. So, some guy's just sitting in there waiting for his order, and he asks the worker, he goes, "So, what happened?" A guy hit the building. He just goes, "Oh, just get your crunch wrap and move on, dude."
It always reminds me of a great story when drove into CVS, wasn't it?
What about when drove into a gas pump?
I don't remember that one.
What?
You hung out
I
with
was
her
there.
outside of class?
No, I watched her ram into a gas
Just
into
in
a
the
fucking
car.
thing.
Yeah. Nobody knows that story about Alex. He just outed himself.
Maybe it wasn't her. Maybe it was someone else.
Sure.
That's good stuff.
Well, what'd you do, GA?
GA.
Part of my week, it's sports, but a little shout out to Tecumseh girls basketball champions. Watched their games on NFHS.
Great job.
Some sweaty ones, some sweaty games. The semifinal, I think they got down early to Frankenmuth, battled back. So cool. I don't think that was the second title they've ever had since the 1970s. Big accomplishment. People are saying probably the most dominant female athlete class of all time in Tecumseh history. With the volleyball team going to the finals.
Hard to argue that.
I guess maybe if they have, I don't know how softball's going to go for that squad, but I know we had some good softball teams back in our day. I guess we'll have to see. Chipotle tried the Chipotle honey chicken. Pretty good. Thought it was pretty good.
Where does it
That's
rank
not
against?
new though. They had that last year.
New for me, Alex. I don't know what you want me to say.
Where does it rank against the brisket and the al pastor? Have you had those?
El Pastor is better than the honey
I have
chicken.
not had pastor. I thought the brisket let me down a little bit. I did.
Brisket-
I think
Not
it's
a brisket guy, so can't
it's
speak on
tough
the
for a
brisket.
chain, I think, to do brisket well.
Especially when it just sits there in that warmer all day. Not good.
I'm a carnitas
Al
guy
pastor
through
is
and through.
peak, though.
I usually get
Wow.
carnitas everything.
Yeah, just double chicken for me. Keep it simple.
Well, maybe try the honey. It's not bad.
I have. I just said I have.
And then adulting thing, the place I got Marissa's engagement ring was having 25% off sale on wedding bands. So she said, even though the wedding's a long ways away, we could go look at wedding bands. So I went and looked at wedding bands, and
That sounds like something you wanted to do.
you guys know me. Well, we did it before ball. We did it at like 10 a.m. when I opened.
Sounds like
You know-
something you have to do to watch ball. Yeah.
Compromise. I also got a mini hoop this weekend. So I was all about, this weekend's all about compromises. Where do you think this ball? There's a hoop in our living room. Okay.
It's a big ball.
It's silent too. So when it bounces, it's just dead quiet. And the hoop's quiet too. It's perfect for
You're a
neighbors.
child.
Some would say. I can't even argue against that. But it's fun to shoot on. I had a good time this weekend.
Oh, I bet.
But I'm not a jewelry guy. So to say that I
No.
just looked rattled in a store like that trying on jewelry would be an understatement. The lady that helped us was super nice, but I don't fit in well in those stores, because when the ladies get talking about how beautiful things are and like, oh my God, like every option they make you try on, they think looks amazing. And I'm kind of blunt and like, yeah, I don't like the look of that. Like if Marissa would ask me like, how does this look? I'm like, not very good. Like, and then the lady's like, oh, well, like we can say
I
it.
got mine online. I didn't even do that whole shindig.
Yeah, I think Marissa, based on what she wants, she might order hers online too, because the ring's different. Like this, there's no diamonds in what she wants, and like mine is not gonna have diamonds in mine. So like you don't have to really go through a place to do it. It's kind of crazy how many different ways you can get stuff.
Yeah. Did you get one or no?
No, I might order one on Saturday because the sale ends that day, and I think I know what I want. I'm just gonna get a plain, thin gold band. 4mm guy over here. No hand jokes, but I'm a 4mm guy.
That's thin for a
I think
band.
5 or 6 is the standard.
I think mine's a 6 or 7.
No
My-
comment, but I got a lot bigger hands.
My fingers are kind of weird where like
That's not sizing, Alex.
I was trying to push it down, and I don't know if it's like the webbing or whatever, but like the 6 was rubbing against my middle finger, and it was a disaster.
Mm.
You can also see this is my left hand. I'm not even doing it for show, but my middle finger and ring finger aren't spaced out as much on my right hand, and I don't know why.
Yeah. That's fine. I mean, that's weird.
I'm just naturally resting, and they're just buddy to buddy.
You're just an all-around freak.
They're buddy to buddy right
I
now.
was just going to say, you're a freak, dude.
Okay, thank you.
It's just not from this world.
25% off though, so they'll probably see me back there. All right, I think it's time to get into ball. All right. March Madness, recapping the first weekend, 48 games of ball. I think the best way to do it is just do Pookies and Dookies. Do, wins and losses of the weekend, and that will basically take us through different big storylines. So I'll let the guest go first. Cody, a Pookie or Dookie that really stood out to you from this weekend?
I have a Dookie that flat out just ruined my night last night, and it was Where was that? Where was the Maryland game at? What location? Does anybody remember?
No. But
Wherever the hell that was, that crew was horrible. I'm thinking it's Lisa Byington's crew, Portage, Michigan native. No hate.
Oh.
Lisa, Jalen Rose, Robbie Hummel.
Yeah, I mean Robbie Hummel
Andy
did not
Katz.
deserve that torture. Lisa Byington, I can't believe she calls Bucks games. Like she's the Bucks. Like
she's not good.
Broadcast.
And this has nothing to do with male or female. She's just not very good.
She was asleep during the Maryland buzzer beater.
Steve Lapis is terrible too. So call it like I see it. Seattle, Washington, Climate Pledge Arena.
The Seattle game. And then it sounded like Jalen Rose. It sounded like you put my AirPods in my bed and I was just adding color commentary where I saw fit. Even at the end of the Oregon-Arizona game, she, like, Caleb Love walks up and daps up Jalen Rose and he didn't mute his mic. So you just hear in the background, like, good shit, player. Like, I was like, what are we doing? Like, this is the most unprofessional broadcast I've ever seen. Like, he's horrible. He just kept going, like, whatever Robbie Hummel would say, you just go, yeah, I'd do that. Like, in the background. It was like if I was adding feedback from my bedroom.
He slowly started to realize that Robbie was the guy he needs to, like, follow behind.
Robbie would go into detail about something, and Jay would be like, yeah, 2 here makes sense for sure. Yeah. And then he just stopped talking. And you're like, okay, Jalen, what are you doing on this?
Don't need 4-man crews.
Why they put Jalen in the middle too? Like he should have been the outside guy.
Then like I had MSU on my TV, and then I had my iPad in my lap, just because like my bedroom TV is not big enough to do like multi. So I was like, I want MSU on the biggest screen possible, and then I'll watch the end of Maryland. I had Maryland in my iPad on my lap. Derek Queen hits the buzzer beater while I was looking away, and I couldn't even, like, you wouldn't have even been able to tell because they didn't react. I just look up and I saw Maryland celebrating. I mean, that is just horrible.
Bad crew. Have to agree.
Tough.
And Steve Lapis, too. I mean, he's not getting away unscathed. That guy's terrible.
He thinks he's the smartest coach of all time. The way there's some announcers that are like purposely negative because they're just wired like that. He will find any bad thing about a game and let you know about it, what team should be doing differently, as opposed to just being like, this game kind of rocks. It could be like 5-5 or a 5-point game with 5 to go. And he's like, yeah, that coach really needs to do this instead. It's like, dude, you were not that good of a coach.
We had Right. He speaks like he's Jay Wright, honestly.
What do you say?
We had Lapis, right?
No. You had Spiro and Spinarkle.
Spinarkle also an annoying guy. Not good either.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, there's layers to it. He's fine. He's not like...
Spiro's so good that he doesn't... I don't know. Spinarkle doesn't take anything away.
Spinarkle, every game we play is like, Zaplala, he's going to be out in 3 minutes and probably won't play the rest of the game. It's like, yes, thank you. That's what he does. He just keeps saying it.
That's a big thing, too, that I think we all forget as Sweats, is that the national crews... It's like when you do baseball in the postseason. Fine. They, like Mersa, when she was like, why did they say Jeremy Fears got shot every game? It's like, well, because there's a lot of people that have no idea about Michigan State. Like, holy shit, this guy got shot. Like, it just adds an element of, like, drama to it where we hear it every game.
At least it's not Gus Johnson, who got shot.
Yeah. Also, not to keep shitting on announcers, but Stan Van Gundy's also terrible at college basketball.
I like him. I still like him.
You just said you don't like people that are negative. He is so negative. He's like, I just don't know what they're doing here. Like, I don't know what they're doing here.
I don't know over the top. Like, so
it's fired from the Pistons again.
I don't like the CBS guy that they replaced Dumble with.
Adam Zucker.
He's
Adam
no,
Zucker.
It's not Adams. It's not Adam Zucker. It's a different guy. The black hair guy.
Yeah, he does more NFL stuff, but yeah, he did like the Onions double order and during one of the highlights, and I was like, leave that for after. Like, let's leave some things sacred.
Yeah, find your own bit.
He just seemed like he was trying to stand out too much and be too funny, and I don't know. I just didn't appreciate that, I guess.
I mean, Adam Zucker filled in for him on the selection show, so I don't know who you're thinking of.
I know Cody's talking about a different guy.
You're not thinking about Wally Zerbiak. He's his own guy.
No, he's thinking of a different guy.
I like Wally Zerbiak.
Let me see a picture of Adam Zucker. Maybe it is him. No, yeah, that's not the same guy. That's not the same guy.
I think he works for NFL Network or something.
March.
It's kind of
Man,
morbid
what would
to
we
type
call
in, but
that?
I typed in
Show?
Greg Gumbel replacement. I was like, and it was Adam Zucker is what it says.
Yeah, no, that guy.
I don't know what else to Google.
Move on. I'll find it.
I'll track it down.
Let me give my first Pookie or Dookie. You went Dookie with announcing. I'll go Pookie. Winner of the weekend, Coach Cal. Plucky underdog Coach Cal gets driven out of Kentucky, probably rightfully so. Goes to Arkansas and just pulls off two underdog wins. Underdogs versus Kansas, blue blood, and then underdogs versus St. John's.
Adam Blefko.
Adam Blefko. Yep, that's the guy.
Sorry, Grant, go ahead.
No, you're good. No, I just thought it's just funny that Coach Cal, it's like the most predictable sports thing that he falls into that.
Yeah. Dookie, his daughter, though, she's annoying to watch on the sidelines.
It felt weird because they've been in a million big games for Kentucky, and I don't know if she's always been like that, and they just didn't because it's a Kentucky game, and like there's bigger storylines with Kentucky.
Have you ever seen me watch a March Madness game? It's just as bad. Arguably worse.
True. I guess we got to look in the mirror here. I was doing some ridiculous things.
Yeah.
I was running around my apartment last night. Running around.
I did the Alvin Ellis 3. I stood up after the Aikens 3 and went.
Oh, yeah. I pounded my chest a couple of times. I would do.
You can't pound your chest. Alex.
Oh, yeah.
You've already told me I can never do that.
Oh, I did. I would do, when we were losing, I would do curls in between timeouts to see if we could come back. Wow. I was just trying whatever would work.
That's kind of like adjacent to push-ups last year for Kalkbrenner's Inferno. I just rip push-ups.
I just needed to do something to try to help the team, It worked. So, yeah, we can't really dump on her because, well, I can't. I'm much worse.
Thankfully, we don't have a camera on us, I guess. So, Pookie us for not having a camera in our face.
Dookies. Underdogs. It's a tough weekend for them. People are complaining about it, but I think it's good because the matchups are going to be a lot better now. You're not going to have to watch San Diego State and Florida Atlantic play in the Final Four.
Well, that's my coach you're talking about, please.
I'm a guy that likes the best basketball possible, I think, in the tournament. And I like one or two upsets. It's fun, but I think it ruins the tournament the further you go along. So I'm a fan of chalk so far. I'm a fan of chalk
when my team is one of the chalky lines. So
yeah,
that's fine.
That helps too.
Also, Michigan State's path itself is not chalk. We're like the only one that didn't get chalk. No. We get a 15, 10, and then a 6.
Yeah.
So
we'll get to that. I'm just kidding. We're not going to give you shit. But you guys, I remember the one year Michigan did. You're like, who have you played?
Yeah, no.
I was ready. I was like, who have you played?
About time we get a run
like that. The Lobos?
Hey, they were pretty good.
They did have some guys. Yeah, it was very, very chalky. And I also think, well, here's the thing. When you gamble, every game is a sweat. There really is no, like, I found myself so many times being like, I'm watching Florida trying to cover 30 versus Norfolk State. Like, I can just throw 15, 20 bucks on a game and make every game seem sick, no matter where we're at, really. So I think people, one, should start doing that responsibly. And
I
two,
can't in the state, and the people in the state can't do that.
That is crazy. But I will say there was still like a lot of good games, like BYU, Wisconsin, good game. Arizona, Oregon, really good game. There was a ton.
Gonzaga.
Good game. Florida UConn was a sweat fest for basically 40 minutes.
Great game.
Like just back and
forth.
Great game. So yeah, I'm a fan of schools that put a lot into basketball, making it. It is fun when you get upsets, but for every like St. Peter's who actually does win their Sweet 16 game versus Purdue, you get a team that makes it to the Sweet 16 and loses by 25. So I'm glad. Like when I was looking at the Sweet 16 games, I just was like,
good.
I was drooling. I was drooling at all the brands that are in those games. So
yeah, what sucked is when Michigan State was in the Sweet 16 against Kansas State, and they were the first games, and that ruined the rest of the whole Sweet 16 and Elite 8 Final Four because we lost.
You were the first game on Thursday.
Yes, and it was the game. It was the best game by far. Not even close.
Yeah, that was a crazy game.
Yeah, insane. Actually,
back to Cody.
I'll say coaches that have a bad rep of choking in the tourney, like Rick Barnes, Pookie.
Easy draw.
Matt Painter, Pookie,
Big
Braden
Pookie.
Smith, Pookie.
Easy
That's our
draw.
guy.
That was a Pookie. Silence the Purdue doubters.
Yep.
A lot of Purdue doubters.
Oh yeah.
Easy draw though. Who have they played?
Easy draw. Holy. Easier than Michigan
yeah.
State's draw.
They both had easy draws, but the tournament is such a crapshoot. Even with like guys like Izzo, seems like Izzo's had is one of the most successful coaches in the tournament ever, and there's still teams that are like Izzo choke, like especially when we don't make it out of the first weekend, which is rare.
We're not Izzo. Izzo choke is not a thing.
No, you see that. You can see that online sometimes. So
yeah, you
it's
can
just
see
like
anything online, literally.
X has gotten crazy. I just saw full frontal nudity the other day. I'm actually scrolling through my homepage. I'm like, what is this app?
Yeah, that app.
I'm just looking for Ken Palm stats. I don't need my face.
Yeah. It's
I have a fiance.
Need some filters on that app.
But yeah, I mean, it goes along with like Cal, and it's good to see kind of with the good brands like back winning. That's what I like in the tournament, and it makes for the best storylines overall. And just to add a Dookie, this might be a hot take because this is the last one I have on my list, so I'm going to get it off my chest. The Amir Khan story, I mean, get that out of my face. I'm tired of seeing that kid. I mean, wearing the orange jumpsuit. I don't know.
Good for that kid capitalizing on.
Good for him capitalizing. It's just I don't need to see it anymore. And then they're talking about he's transferring with Will Wade. I'm like, no way we're breaking down Amir Khan transfer portal news at this point. So,
perfect replacement right here for Evan. That's a classic Evan. Evan would have came on here and said the national media has ruined this kid for us. And it kind of did, but it's not his fault. Credit to him for getting the bag. I think he's sponsored by Fortnite now. I mean, that's awesome. If you're a manager and you get an NIL deal.
Whoever was doing McNeese Purdue, the announcer's like, we're doing this for a manager? Like a manager? Credit to him. I'm in this guy's army. I support this dude.
The walkout before the Purdue game was so absurd.
Yeah, it was.
I actually wanted to see like if they kept winning, if they got to the Final Four, like would he come out in like a car, like you drive onto the court
in a Kia?
Yeah. Alex.
Yeah. What do you want?
Boogie or Dookie?
I don't have a lot of like specific things. I'd say St. John's was a Dookie. Because a call Dookie on my part. I said they weren't very good many times to you last week. Like many times. Yes, I kept saying St. John's is not that good. They haven't beat anybody. They haven't played anybody. The Big East stinks. And
Big
you
East
like,
did kind of stink.
Brick potato. No, St. John's is not that great. So I feel bad that they lost. Great season, but Pookie, St. John's, and Rick Pitino pulled their star player the last 4 minutes and said he said in the press conference, "You know why? I don't." So does anybody know why?
Yeah,
he was playing like he took like a fadeaway contested jump shot with like two guys in his face instead of like making an open pass, and that's when he pulled him. That's what
Player of the year doesn't play.
I don't know if you saw it differently,
Grant,
but like he was forcing everything.
I think Patino's like he's cut from the old school Izzo cloth, where like he had that halftime speech that went viral when he was in his white suit earlier in the year when he was like, I don't care how many shots you miss or make. It's about like not letting it affect your defense. I'm assuming RJ Lewis going 3 of 17 from the field. I didn't watch him as closely, like player watching, but I'm assuming he was getting beat on some defensive assignments. And I think Patino's just like, I do not give a shit about your accolades. And if you're not playing defense, like you're sitting. But you could argue if it's a 3-point game, maybe give him one more chance and then maybe pull him on offense defense subs. I don't know, but he's pretty hard and fast in his rules.
It would have made sense after he took that shot when he pulled him at 4 minutes. If he like pulled him, did the Izzo, like take him to the side, coach him up until the next time out, and then put him back in. But I mean, 3 of 17 was atrocious. I guess you got to keep letting the kids shoot. It just
that was at his Jaren Jackson Syracuse moment. That was Patino's Jaren Jackson moment.
Yeah.
Jaren was in foul trouble.
Well, let's not let history get in the way or stats get in the way of a good story, okay? I was just trying to do something there. Pookie, America, no UConn 3-peat. We don't have to deal with them trying to win it all again. I know Alex, I think fair to say, really dislikes, might hate Dan Hurley at this point.
Not a huge fan. Not a huge fan. I felt myself rooting for UConn in the moment, but I do not.
Agent of Chaos, Alex, rooting for all the 8 seeds.
But
it's so hard.
Damn,
like,
dude.
As a basketball coach, like that set to get that open 3 to tie the game was unbelievable. Like some of the sets he was drawing up to get guys open was like
good. He's a good coach. No one's
the best basketball coaching I've seen in college.
Their offense is just awesome.
He's like a little kid, like kicks and screams when he loses. He cries and bitches and runs his mouth. And it's fine when you're winning, but then when you're losing, you just look like a complete moron and a loser. And it pisses me off. But
he's fine. Like,
do what you got to do.
Coach Grayson Allen. What I always said about Grayson Allen before we did a show, I was like, I understand he's a pain in the ass, but he's awesome for the sport of basketball because you know it's going to be something every time you watch. And I'm not saying I like it, but it's like I'd rather him be.
No, you just did.
I'd rather have a bunch of coaches like that in college basketball than like if he went to the Lakers. Like he's a lot less fun for us as fans because I watch college basketball and there's always something with him that's fun to watch. Like the old Big East when they made that documentary, it was all about how the coaches were psychopaths and like wanted to fight each other. Like that's what like college basketball thrives on. So they played their asses off, though. That was very impressive. Probably the most impressive loss of the weekend. I guess I'll give credit for that. Yes, Alex.
Dookie, the Big East.
You already said that. We don't need to go over it again.
I said St. John's, but now I want to say the Big East. So if Butler doesn't show up in the crown.
March 31st, Utah.
Tough year for the Big East.
Belt to ass. Who will be on there? Who will be on our team? I don't know. Transfer portal's wide open. We'll see. Booker could be on our team by then to play. We might have Booker for the crown.
He did mean mug
He's
against New Mexico.
Oh my God, I laughed out loud. I said, look at Booker on the bench. He looked so funny in that still shot. I don't know why.
I was like, oh, maybe he's staying. He just mean mugged.
He gives good energy.
No, he doesn't.
Pookie, my last Pookie, Scott Van Pelt, which is just my way to talk about being happy for Maryland. A Big Ten team. Normally, I don't like Big Ten teams. I like Maryland. I feel happy for them that they finally got a buzzer beater going their way when they got beat by like 4 earlier this year, and it was awesome. And I don't know about you guys. Did you guys think it was a travel?
No, clear gather.
I recently was told today. I was told today that gathering doesn't exist in college, but if it exists in the NBA, I think it's fine.
You're not calling that. Like,
no.
I don't know who is calling that in a moment like that. No one. And if they did call that,
Kelly Pfeiffer,
we would all be upset that they called it.
Or the Heinings guy. Who's the Heinings guy? He would insert himself.
Jesus Christ. Get them 10 refs out of this. Also, Pookie, reffing's been significantly better at least for us. It's still not great, but there's significantly less fouls. I think in the second Michigan State game, there was like 6 fouls total in the first half. Well,
for you guys, there was a nice. I'm not saying it would have changed anything, but you guys owned the second half in fouls.
Well, yeah, we'll talk about it, but we got a favorable whistle.
Michigan got a favorable whistle as well in the second half against A&M.
For sure. Yep. I was going to say maybe a mini apology, not really, to our Big Ten refs, because I feel like there has been a lot of loose ball rebounding fouls called in this tournament that I've noticed, and I was like, maybe they did prepare us for the big dance.
I don't know. We haven't been called for any of them.
I have one more Pookie. It's a guy's named Walter. How about Walter Clayton? You wouldn't think that
big shot maker.
He's the type of hooper he is. And my other Pookie is Exciting Whites, because Frankie Fiddler put on last night. We'll talk about that.
But Fiddler's the name that we'd start that with.
But also Cooper Flag. BYU's got some Exciting Whites. Alex Condon in Florida
that are playing well.
No Dalton Connects, though. Dalton Connect, if I'm ranking him against Dalton Connect, that guy was a bucket.
That is
Flag is better than Dalton Connect.
Yeah, all around.
Padula on Ole Miss. That guy's a hooper.
We're going to clamp his ass, but we'll get to that.
Brain Smith, another Exciting White.
Yeah.
Fletcher, Exciting White.
Foster Lawyer stinks. Son of an adder.
Fletcher's middle of the road. Quick Dookies. One, the Midwest Regional. We had it here first. People are just now finding out they're playing in Lucas Oil. Crock of shit. Massive crock of shit. They're playing that in a football stadium. I saw Boiler fans be like, I'm not going to this game. Purdue fans were potentially boycotting their own Sweet 16 because they're so pissed it's in Lucas Oil.
Their game's also 10 o'clock local time.
Yeah. But my stat, that's March, baby. People are diving into tip times for Braden Smith and how well. To be fair, I do think Houston is going to destroy them. But that made me feel better about Braden Smith.
Clamps that ass.
Speaking of late night tips, Dookie, me, and maybe you guys, I'm feeling the effects of getting older, staying up late, especially Thursday night to watch my team going into work on Friday. Even today, I felt just sluggish because of Arizona, Oregon. I'm not built like I used to in college. Like, you have class maybe at 9:30, 10 o'clock. Totally fine.
That's different, Grant. Class is like an hour. Work is like 8 hours.
Yeah, but just getting to work at like 8 a.m. after a late night of ball, not fun. Not fun at all.
It's not getting old. That would suck no matter what.
It feels worse now. I don't know what it is. I'm assuming it's my age.
Because you didn't work before. That's what it is.
Essentially.
It feels worse with my last Dookie when you're like a little tired. You just finished work and then like your team's down early and then you just hear that damn pig going, wee, wee, wee.
I actually like that they brought the commercial back. I think it's pretty funny.
No, I hate it. I hate it.
They brought it back because they knew everyone would talk about it. I mean, it's genius marketing.
I'll never use Geico.
All of you in.
I'll never use Geico.
It's the most annoying commercial since the Orange Vanilla Coke in 2019. I mean, that was after every timeout.
That commercial
I've got
rocks.
a Dookie.
And not after a while, though.
I'm still on commercial talk, though.
The Coors commerciul goes hard, though.
I have a Dookie.
Like the Making My Way Downtown, where it's like the official beer of groomsmen or something.
That's foul. The Miller Lite one's nice. I like the nostalgia Miller Lite one. I'm not remembering the Coors Light one.
Talking about March Madness commercials right now.
Yeah, there's a huge aspect of the tournament because everyone knows them. But yeah, the Geico one's incredibly lazy. Incredibly lazy.
Yeah. What's your Dookie, Alex?
Cody and fellow Spartans just shitting their pants 5 minutes into the game.
Oh,
My
chat.
God. Full puddle by Cody. Both games early on. Just full puddle. And he owned up to it last night. He was like, I'm sorry for puddling. I didn't think I would be that guy. But yeah, Wilkins.
It just, you know what I was thinking about it. It just means more. It just means more. So, I puddle quicker because it's like
you puddle so fast. It was like 4-0 and you're puddling already.
I think my 1-1 sports are like Lions football and then Michigan State basketball, specifically in March. I think I care more about what Michigan State does in March than I do Lions football.
Wilkins, this is what I care about the most.
I graduated.
And I don't puddle in the first 5 minutes.
But
I have to tell you to stop puddling.
Something about when like a mid-major is just hitting shots. It's like, I've seen this story too many times and I just puddle immediately.
You've seen it happen one time. It happened one time. We lost. One time.
No.
The last 6 years have been tough.
Yeah, like when
we've just been losing to like a 1 seed. That's not
when Jaime Jaquez.
Not Kansas State.
When Jaime Jaquez went nuclear
game
against us in the play-in game, his performance in that game was reminding me of the Finland kid last night, whatever his name was. Like,
dude,
that kid was just
scored
lapping
4
everything.
points the rest of the game. Like I said,
I know. The kid had a crazy head shape. Amzil, I believe.
You got to remember, this is a long, and I get it. It's very there's a lot of anxiety watching March Madness because I feel it too. But there's no reason to puddle 5 minutes into the game.
Luke's Luke's sarcastic shit's over made me laugh so hard. Just like shit's over.
Luke and I texted earlier this weekend. He's like, dude, I just get so anxious during the games. And I'm like, I know. We all just got to calm down. We all just have to realize. And then I saw a great tweet. It's like, yeah, but we want more of this anxiety next weekend. Well, we can't wait. We're so pumped up to be all stressed out again.
Sheehan said that, yeah.
Nothing's worse than when you don't make the first shot of the game. Just instant, like, oh God, here we go.
Well, because both games, I think Bryant hit a 3, and then New Mexico hit we were down like 5-0 and 7-0 in both games. And it's like, and your butt starts puckering. And you're like,
like, what if we never make a shot? What if we just never score?
I think that's genuinely what Cody thinks in the moment. He's like, my God, we might not score a point.
No, it goes to like the 7-0, and then you're like, all right, we're fine. And then like you see Jace get the ball and he pulls up, and you're like, well, he's gonna hit this. He's Jace Richardson, and then he misses. And you're like, oh, like who's gonna score tonight?
It's like 48 seconds into the game. There was one text someone sent is like feeling really bad about tonight, and I looked at the clock and there was 33 minutes left in the game. I was like, dude, we have got to calm down. We've got to calm down. Like, imagine if the players thought like our group chats thought. They'd get ran out of the building. It's terrible. We got to be tougher. We got to be tougher.
I have 2 Dookies left. Then we can move on to the specifics of the games. 1, ref reviews. So bad. So
horrible.
bad.
Someone was getting pissed. One of the announcers was like, "Oh, let's review it again."
That's a big point. I think I noticed was we bring in all these like NBA type of guys or guys that don't do this on Fox and ESPN throughout the year. So they're not really in college basketball's pocket. Like they're fine in their career if they're not on March Madness games. They just do it because it's fun. So like when Stan Van comes on, or like even Jalen Rose in this case, they come on the game and they're just like, this is ridiculous. Like, what are we doing? Because they don't watch it in and out. And then the NBA, they have it figured out what the challenge is. And it's just, it makes, the good thing is I think there was so much backlash this weekend that they will fix it for next year because they can't keep doing this. And I was even thinking like the end of 2 minutes thing is kind of BS anyways, because like who's to say you're going to have a altering call that you would need to challenge? Like if you gave coaches challenges, they might use it on a player who picks up his 4th foul with 6 minutes to go and they want to see if that's not actually a foul. Like the fact that we just decide the last 2 minutes, like everything needs to be reviewed, even though like a lot of like tips out of bounds aren't that consequential. It's just crazy. And also on top of that, the amount of flagrant 2s we're reviewing for is crazy. There's not that many like malicious
Didn't the BYU
acts.
guy get kicked out?
Kicked out for clearing the space.
That was crazy. A crazy thing to do in a March Madness game.
Too many flagrant 2s overall as well. People are not that dirty. It's not like we're living in bad boys era basketball. Most elbows you see are accidental. But we have to review it. We have to slow it down, see if it was intentional. We call Gene Steratore. It's just a horrendous product.
The end of the Oregon-Arizona game, they just throw it out of bounds, and then all the players says, "Yep, let's huddle up." And they did it like it was like 7 straight possessions.
They do that every time a player does that under 2 minutes. They review it. They don't even.
Yep. Yeah. Danny Wolf fired that off one point. I was like, "Oh my god, dude!" Almost and then like they're so obvious sometimes, and it still takes them like 10 minutes. I'm like,
the clock looking at the seconds when it actually hit the baseline. Like we don't need to review everything. Also, kind of a strategy for coaches. You may not. I've been thinking you don't need to save your timeouts nearly as much because you have like 15 timeouts in the last 2 minutes to talk to your team.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Richard Pitino called his like second to last one with like 12 minutes left in the game. I was like, oh, and then 3 minutes left in the game. I looked and he still had that. I was like, oh, okay, we've had 20 stoppages in place since then, and he still has a timeout.
Yeah.
Can't they get an expedited review like the NFL? Like, can we do that?
They should have a big command center for March Madness. Like test it out for conference tournaments.
They don't use it.
Gene has the life, man. He just cashes checks for saying, we'll see what the refs call. No, I didn't actually see where he was at.
Yeah,
they put him behind the scenes. He's in an office in New York, and he has like 8 TVs, and he just like tells somebody, he's like, "Can you rewind it?" And he basically like talks through it. I didn't realize. I thought he was just in his basement, honestly. But
with his feet up in his recliner.
You're right, though. It's like there's more game-altering plays like prior to 2 minutes. It's like we'll talk about it. Like,
there's like a questionable 4 minutes left.
The biggest swing
can't.
The biggest swing in the MSU New Mexico game, like if you go back and watch it, when Ja has that chase down block, and then Frankie Fiddler never reestablished himself in bounds when he like jumped in bounds and grabbed that, and then Ja hits the 3 at the other end, and that was kind of like it just avalanched after that because it was at like 7 minutes, and that's kind of where we took the lead. I mean, Frankie, that probably should have been New Mexico ball, like if you could challenge that, but it just wasn't. And
yeah, but again, that's one of those plays that I would not want to review because. It's a bang play, and then just let him.
Like if there was a coach's challenge or something like in the NBA,
fine. But
like that was more game altering than anything that would have happened in the last 2 minutes, especially like in the last 2 minutes of Oregon, Arizona. It didn't like we reviewed for 25 minutes and it didn't change anything.
Yeah, I thought about it when Nelly Jr. Joseph got his 4th foul on that like loose ball foul on Fears. I was like. They may have upheld it, but I thought it was close enough where like you could challenge it and potentially get them to be like, no, it wasn't a foul.
The one when he ran him over after he got to put back dunk?
No. That was sorry. The the third foul then. The loose ball one at like half court.
No, that one was 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
the
do
run him
think-
over was he just
People
was
are
sped up.
like, that was the worst call in the history of college basketball. And he did hit his arm, so just want that clarified. It's probably a soft call, but he did make contact. It's not the worst call in college basketball history, like some.
No, that was Trey Block. Or
Yeah,
Trey
that was
Burke
another-
versus Payne Siva. That's the worst call in
That was
college
a-
basketball history.
That was another call where Spinarkle went, oh, yep, that's definitely on Fears. Good call. And then they're like, no, it's on Joseph. And
And he's like, oh, my bad.
never
You're
mind.
right. They watched the replay. He's like, yep, that makes sense.
Thanks, Jim. All right, let's hop into Michigan State. We'll start. Do you guys want to start game by game or big picture stuff? Maybe game by game. Just go back to Bryant and see how we end up at the end of it.
Sure, I'll talk about Bryant.
I bet $5 on Bryant. Hand up. Got the chat stirred up.
Yeah, I think that game went exactly how I expected it to go. You're nervous. Bryant was very athletic. Credit to them.
Not
Like,
your normal mid-major.
no, they came out on the floor in the beginning of the game. I was like, holy shit, this is not a normal looking 15 seed with like 4 white dudes that are like little and chew. No.
Did you
these
not
dudes
look at
were
them
all-
at all before you played?
No, I
Or-
did, but I guess I didn't see him up against like, I figured the teams they were playing were just like baby small.
Small. Yeah.
And then I saw him up against like our guards and they were all bigger. And I was like, oh, it's a little nerve wracking. But I knew like we would probably start like a little timid till 10 o'clock tip. And then you just got to find your footing. And then you realize at some point you're just significantly better than them. And which you did by like 5 minutes left in the first half. And then it was not close really after that. Credit to Brian for hanging in. They played very tough. But they just ran out of gas, as you would expect a 15 seed to. But they were a solid 15 seed, so I'll give them credit.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind their coach being on the short list for Izzo's successor someday too.
That's ridiculous, but
keep it in the fam.
I think that's an absurd statement.
no, a lot of ball left.
Well,
a lot of
depending on how
ball
long
left in
Tom
Izzo.
coaches. Maybe in 10 years from now, if Tom's still going somehow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
but
I
Martinelli's
honestly
the guy.
don't think Michigan State has to pluck a guy from a mid-major. I'm pretty sure they can pluck
Nah,
a guy from
Well, he's
We're
wherever.
working
over
up,
by
Alex. He's working up.
He'll move up by
Pretty
then.
sure we can pluck him from anywhere.
He's Drake's next coach, probably. I have no idea.
No, that game just really instilled in me that like we have Cohen Carr and other teams don't, and he's just gonna hold me and tell me everything's gonna be okay, and he's just gonna come in and just ball, and that was the difference. I mean, he didn't have that good of a game last night, but I don't really think it was like the right game for him. But that was just probably the most fun I've had watching a guy in a while against Bryant. Honestly,
Yeah, he was sick. My favorite player on Michigan State by far.
He's awesome, man. He's a great kid.
Yeah, and he's like doesn't talk the least amount of shit of any human. He just like does crazy things and runs back down the floor and does more and like never changes his face. I don't understand. The loose ball that he fell like halfway up the tunnel last night was fantastic. I just love that kid.
I liked his 2-hand volleyball block last night.
Yeah.
Just stupid. He could have just caught that ball. I wish he would have in hindsight. But
18 points
Hey,
in
special
22
player.
minutes against Bryant. 7 of 10, 9 boards.
Izzo said post game after Bryant, Cohen Carr can not only be a great player next year, but he can be a superstar. And if Tom Izzo saying that,
Wait, he was like nobody was really that good at the line yesterday against New Mexico, but when Cohen stepped
he's
up,
been
you're like,
pretty
he's
nails.
probably gonna hit both. Yeah.
And he made an elbow jumper, I think, against Bryant. Or was it New Mexico? But he hit an elbow jumper, which I have not seen.
kids
Against
growing
Bryant.
up fast. And you love to see that.
Yeah, he's to your point, Cody. He is he's taken 9 free throws and made 8. He's 8 of 9 through 2 games. And the team as a whole does not shoot very well thus far from the free throw line.
It wasn't that bad, was it?
It was also nice to see our undersized
I guess
guard.
Bryant.
First game was bad.
Second
They were
game-
undersized. We were undersized athletically, like at the guard spot. I think like we were giving up height on all their guards because everybody was over 6'6", I think. So both Fears, Holloman, Jace, and they still defended like as well as we have all year. So that was nice to see, especially given like Sweet 16, Elite 8 games. That's the type of guard play you're going to see. There's going to be guys that are bigger and more athletic than you. So.
Ole Miss is, not to get too far ahead here, but they're smaller than Bryant.
Yeah, they're small.
Crazy.
That's what makes me feel good about
your
the Ole Miss
15
game.
seed be one of the biggest teams you're potentially going to play.
It all comes down to shooting because what did Bryant in is they just had no touch.
They were just
they were just
jacking everything.
Just negative touch. Yeah, Raphael, 9 of 26.
He hit couple of shots,
2 of 12 from deep. That kid never saw a shot he didn't like, and I respected that from him. Earl Timberlake, psychopath, bleeding from his face, stands up. That was a cool moment.
And then he had a Band-Aid on his face, and he was bleeding through. He had blood on his face, and they were letting him play.
He hit a sick up and under, I think, on Cone Car to end the half as he was bleeding down his face. I was like, this guy's built differently than everyone else. He was a high recruit. Someone said before the game, like he was a high top 100 recruit and just went to Bryant.
Huh.
So
no, he transferred.
Did he? Oh, that's probably right. No, the 24/7. The 24/7 page doesn't do a good job of showing you where you were at before. That's right.
He went to DeMatha?
Yeah, probably played with the Dick Man. Also, Dookie, Hunter Dickinson. Yeah,
he went to Miami, and then he went to Miami, and then he went to Memphis, and then Bryant. So not even close to just going to Bryant, but
that was a huge get for Martelli Jr. But apparently not.
No, absolutely not.
I will say this: they were kind of funny, not funny. They were kind of over the top, but in terms of a mid-major social media presence, I have to tip my cap to Bryant. No, Alex, listen. You know what? For being a team that probably wasn't shellacked, they made a horrendous mistake talking about Cone Car of all people they picked.
That was so funny.
They have over, I think, 2 million views on that. But like, I would much rather have a mid-major mix it up like that than just like lay down and take it. So shout out to that account, whoever ran that, giving it their all this week. They really did. I didn't know what the audition was, but then apparently,
I still don't really understand what it is.
Bryant said that this tournament was Bryant's audition to make the Big East one day. I was like, that's awesome.
Oh, I did. I saw someone freaking out in a Twitter space about Bryant wanting to be in the Big East. Someone's like, yeah, why not Bryant? And they're like, no, not Bryant.
I thought it was something to do with Mark Titus show because they were like tagging Mark Titus and stuff.
I think they just wanted as much buzz to get in the Big East as possible. So I respect that, taking your chance when you have it. But it backfired that they chose Cone Car of all people.
Credit to them for landing a couple punches, but they never had a shot.
No,
unfortunately.
We go to New Mexico now. Last night, a team with more skill than Bryant, more skill, more touch around the rim. Still had good pressure. They were hard hedging the hell out of your guys' ball screens. That stood out.
Did not enjoy that.
I'm not always thinking about X's and O's the first time I watch a game. I'm almost never thinking about that. But like, I was like, God, they were like riding them out to the half court line on these.
Yeah, the thing with that though, for our team specifically, we're not 10 deep anymore. People keep saying that we're 10 deep, but like Booker does not play anymore.
No more
plays
Booker.
Like 5 minutes.
4 minutes. Yeah.
So we're not. We did shorten the rotation quite a bit, but either way, we do have a lot of depth guard wise, and so the teams can do that for 20 minutes, but they're just going to get so exhausted because we just run and run and run, and then the fast break starts opening up, and they can't do that anymore. So that's what I was telling myself early in the game when we couldn't do anything, when they're doing like oh no, this will wear down, and thankfully it did. But yeah, I was impressed that was their game plan. Richard did a good job. Richard had a good game plan early.
Cody, your thoughts?
Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I obviously puddled early. I got that off my chest. I don't know. It's just in my DNA. I get really anxious, when you see guys like that just start making shots. Like that happened in the Kansas State game. It was like a similar looking guy.
That guy looks like the same dude.
Yeah, but he's also like he's not a guy like we scouted for. I mean, he looked like he could hoop pretty well, but like I was kind of focused on Donovan Dent, and like for the most part, we did a really good job on him. It reminded me of like what Akins did against Tyler Kolek when we beat Marquette as the 2 seed. It's just it's still a lot more confidence in me knowing that like we have the guards defensively to shut down any guard in the country really, and that can take a lot of the offense out. I don't think the bigs have played well, like really in the tournament, super well.
They haven't
I
played
guess.
well in a month.
I mean, yeah. They've clearly
They
struggled.
really haven't.
Out of anything, I mean, Kohler's look good. Carson Cooper's kind of
I think
falling off a little bit.
Cooper's arguably been better than Kohler. Kohler did not play well last night at all. It was one of his worst games of the year.
Cooper got
he also was not a great matchup.
No, he wasn't. I think like that's where I struggle a little bit. But knowing we have the guards to shut down any guard, especially like when Jace wasn't even playing well offensively, but he made a lot of huge plays defensively down the stretch. And that's not something you really think of Jace Richardson as a good defensive guard. I know, but last night he looked pretty like he was holding his own, making a lot of plays. And just like I've been hard on Akins all year because like he's a senior, you need him to play well in the stretch.
Way too hard.
But this is like exactly what I wanted from it. It's like,
and I tried to say a month ago that he is so good on defense that people don't realize like he can't be.
I understand that.
Star on offense too.
It's just so frustrating when you watch like Jace Richardson play that well offensively, and then Akins like can't shoot, and it's just I know like there's not a lot Akins can do for that. He's been open and said like I've struggled shooting
a lot.
I know, but it's been nice to see. Like it was nice to see last night. Like Jace was obviously struggling, and Akins recognized that and he stepped up. Especially like that ridiculous 3 hit. Like when he jacked that up, I was like, that is going to be the loudest brick of all time. And then he made it
back iron. 2 sweet blocks from the guards too. Akins
Fears block was so good. Oh my god, I love
instantly
that block.
Like gave it up though with didn't he turn it over? Or he did something like instantly and it was like, all right, maybe he needs to get out of the game. But that was a sick moment.
I think he blocked it and then Holloman took it up, and instead of throwing a lob to Carr, he like tried to lay it in and got blocked.
That was Akins. Because that
was Holloman. Holloman missed a wide open lob to Carr.
After Akins' block. Then
that was after
Holloman sequence. Yeah.
That one pissed me off so bad. I was screaming,
Insane.
throwing up. All of America. Carr is by yourself. I'm throwing that. Everybody's throwing that if they're playing. And he's like, nah, dude, I'm taking this. And he missed. And I was like, dude, oh my God. I was so disappointed in that.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Back to Wilkins' point on the whole defense thing. I do feel like Michigan State can take away their star player in most games, so then when you see role players like hot early, you just have to tell yourself like no role player is just going to ball out for 40 minutes. It just doesn't happen. It's not how it works. And so like that kid having a hot start, that's why I texted our chat. I was like, this kid's going to have like 5 points the rest of the game because he's just not going to shoot 6 for 6 the rest of the game. And he barely even shot after that to begin. I think he hit a late
we took Kohler off and we put Carr on him, which we said in the chat. Like you have to get Kohler out of there because he was just not a good matchup for that kid.
New Mexico's only shot was their role players playing very well because we were going to shut down Dent for the most part, and we got some help with the foul trouble on the big guy. And also New Mexico just stopped going to their big guy down low. They didn't stop running stuff through him, and I was like, if you want to run it through your other guards that aren't very good, fine. But Michigan State did the whole shut the water off thing again. This time they just did it a lot earlier. They did it when we were down 10 with, like, I think New Mexico had 1 basket for 12 minutes of the game, like a 12-minute period. It's like, oof.
It was a big, still New Mexico, so you have to translate that or try to project it for other teams. But it was big for State to have the like horrendous 3-point shooting night and a bad game from Jace all in one, not separate, but all in one at the same time.
Worst game in his college career. Like, really bad time to have one.
That airball, I was ready to explode when he had that open 3, and then he airballed and kind of shook his head, and I was 12. Like, oh, like he actually might not ever make another shot.
Game was going to be like over, and then he just complete airball. I was like, okay. Yeah. I do think like next game he's going to drop like 25. Like he's just going to go crazy.
We'll get to the preview. Yeah. So, but the stats wise, 1 of 10 from the field for him. As a team, 4 of 15 from 3, 26.7%, and you win pretty comfortably towards the end. So it's huge to rely on the defense. Like I said, I think looking like this is way too far in advance because that would be, it'd be the championship game because they're on the other side. But like Florida's a team I think about where like even if you took away Clayton, like that they have Martin and Richard, but like there's not a lot of teams that have alpha enough guards. Even like Ole Miss could translate, or like they have Padua. Is it Padua? How do you pronounce it? Padula. Like, I don't know their supporting cast enough, which we'll get to, but like, yeah, your point about taking away the lead guard on most teams, especially in the Big Ten, you're pretty much set.
If you run into Duke or a Florida or maybe even an Auburn, like their role players are going to be a lot better than Mexico's role players. So you take away their top option, their guys are going to be better. But like even like Michigan State took away Donaldson in both games. Not that he's their best player, but he seems like one of their better players at this point. And Danny Wolf hasn't done much, and they just let Vlad Golden score 40 points, and you win comfortably both games. But so I think Michigan State's ability to take away guys, no one can take away everyone, but we can take away star players, and that's going to keep us in every game no matter what.
Yeah.
Okay. Like we haven't lost a game all year by more than single digits. So
good stat.
Well, and the other thing too is they're so good defensively, and the biggest narrative is everybody's like, "Well, they can't shoot the three. They can't shoot the three." And like, yes, statistically, we don't shoot the three, but it's not like we're not like St. John's to where we have like nobody can shoot. We have guys that can't shoot. Like Trey Holloman, Jace Richardson, Akins is streaky, like he can shoot really well. I mean, even like Fears has shown somewhat of an ability to make threes. There's a lot of ability there. It's just like
not bad.
Yeah,
shoot that much. I just
get in my head that he misses a lot of free throws, which is like frustrating sometimes. But it's just like the ability is there for us to go nuclear and shoot really well. We haven't really seen it all that often, but I would rather have a team that can defend really well and that will travel in any gym and create opportunities. And I think that's the biggest place I've kind of grown this year is like, I've struggled. I mean, obviously, like we're really good, so it's easy to like have fun with this team. But historically, like I've never really loved Tom Izzo's brand of basketball, just because we struggle so much in the half court. It's like really frustrating to watch as a fan. But this year has like really proved to me, like we don't have that much talent. Like we have a McDonald's All-American that doesn't even play, and we're still like belt to ass every night.
Was he really?
Okay, but I mean. We thought Booker was like going to be a guy this year, and he's the 10th man on the bench. Like Zapali gets more minutes.
He had four games, double digits in a row. We're like, this guy's back. His defense is so bad.
Yeah,
to your 3-point shooting point, though, the last 10 games, Michigan State's shooting 36% from three. So, yes, they were really bad in the beginning of the year, but 36% is like right in the middle. So and when you have the number one overall 3-point defense in the country now, officially, I think 36% is just fine.
Yeah, that's what I think it is. It's the defense. Like, I do think Michigan State has the ability to go cold from three more so than other top teams. But when you compare it to the team you're playing and they shoot 30% as well, it doesn't hurt you in the game because of how well you guard the 3-point line.
And we don't take a lot of threes either. Typically, we score a lot. Like, I think the big difference in the New Mexico game is when Michigan State realized like we can go inside and just take it inside every time. And we were down like double digits in paint points in the beginning of the game, and then just absolutely dominated the rest of the game. Once they realized, shots not falling, get inside. Jeremy Fears is the best in the country at drawing fouls. Don't know how he does it. It's remarkable, but
it's ridiculous.
It was the note I had.
If you just watch, like I started realizing like 5 games ago, you just watch him. He draws so many fouls. It's insane.
I haven't fully called him a foul.
He's a foul merchant.
Is he? Was fair. Yes. I didn't want because it wasn't my team. I didn't want to say it.
He just had that jump shot yesterday where he got the guy in the air and then
so frustrating.
But like
so frustrating.
Super smart, and you want your point guard to be able to do that. Like he knows when we take it on a fast break, he'll slow down perfectly for a big man to run him over. He's so good at it.
Yeah.
It's Chris Paul, James Harden bullshit.
It's great. I love it. Frankie Fiddler's also a foul merchant.
Yes. He was top 15 in the country in drawing fouls. Little merchants.
And Ole Miss is like number 1 at fouls. So they're really bad at fouling. So good little tidbit.
Fears also the way he controls the pace is just
so good.
Like it's unbelievable. It's like an extension of Izzo. Even that Akins transition 3, the way he like slowed up and took a couple dribbles and waited for Akins to kind of get in his pocket and just dropped it right there for Akins to drill it. It's like little
same
passes
on the
like that.
when he slowed down at the free throw line, waited for Akins to burst and threw the alley-oop.
Yeah.
It's like, this guy's in control.
Unreal.
Nothing like AJ Hogarth, where you're just watching Tubby Solution just run full speed down the court and just try to throw up a layup and get blocked. It's just Fears is not going to do that. He's going to find
Fears does though. He just draws a foul. He runs to the elbow and bangs off someone, and they whistle it. There's something
he knows
nice
when to do it though.
There's something at peace in my mind that I know that I'm going to get to hate this kid for 4 years of basketball. Like I'm just going to. He's going to be Aaron Kraft by year 4. I'm going to hate his guts. So it's good to know that I'm seeing this demon be built in front of my eyes.
He's 100%. He also runs his mouth so much. I mean. He's
multiple times they had to stop the game. He was trying to shoot free throws, talking shit to people, and they were like, "Whoa, it's not me."
One time he's like, "I didn't say anything." He's like, "I didn't say anything."
When they had that weird Patino called his second time out at like 12 minutes, and there was that weird stoppage where the ref just blew the whistle. I thought like Fears got a tech or something because I was like, "Well, that was weird." They were just dribbling, and then we stopped play. I would imagine he was talking shit. But.
Bad news is that the Big Ten has to deal with Trey Holloman and Fears again next year, just running their mouths and in your face defense. Like they are not like a typical college kid in today's world. They are just complete opposite. They're like a 90s kid who just plays defense, gets in your grill, talks shit on the playground. It's great.
That's why I want to see you guys
to play them, but love to have them on your team.
I want to see you guys play Auburn because might be 4 technical fouls in that game.
Baker Mazzara might throw a punch at Fears.
Yeah, I guarantee Fears can get Baker Mazzara to punch him. If that's our matchup, if we get to the Elite Eight and play them, Fears will get him to punch.
I Cody
fully
mentioned
believe that
with the exciting whites, but shout out to Frankie Fiddler as well. We kind of mentioned him, but just huge stretch for him in the second half of that game.
He turned into Matt McQuaid last night. That was awesome.
Seniors realizing that it could be their last game and balling out when the young kids don't. That is what a Michigan State basketball team does. And when we get to Michigan, there's another kid that did that in a huge game, and he's been dog shit this year. Last 10 games. Unbelievable performance by that guy.
Before we go into those games, I don't know if there's any other big picture stuff like just feelings, vibes, emotions wise from the Sweet 16. Now that you guys,
Relief.
I mean, you were there with Kansas State, like I said, but like the last 6 years have not been the most fun comparative to other times.
Well, if you say
basketball.
6 years, one of those was a Final Four.
No, Alex, after 19, just after 19.
2020, we would have. Well, we don't know for sure, but we would have been a high seed. We would have expected to at least be a Sweet 16 team. And then, you've had some tough, close calls. You had a 5-point lead against the 1 seed or 2 seed Duke. They went to the Final Four. You blew that game. You had a 10-point lead on UCLA. You blew that lead. They went to the Final Four.
Blew a lead against
you lost to North Carolina last year. You're up 20 in the first 20 minutes and then get blown out in the second half. Like, they've been there in spots to win games in March. They just keep blowing it. So, but mainly because it wasn't like a Michigan State constructed Izzo tournament type team. Like, it just wasn't built the same. They didn't play defense.
Even like, this team's even built, I think, better on paper for the tournament than even like the Cassius team. Like, obviously nobody on this team is Cassius Winston, and I don't think anybody is ever going to be, but like, I don't even think those teams really defended that well. Like, because obviously Cassius like was never a good defender. That's why he didn't make it in the NBA. Xavier Tillman was a good defender. But like,
McQuaid was actually really good at defending.
Yeah. Kenny Goins wasn't like that great of a defender.
Shut down Carson Edwards.
He had moments.
McQuaid did twice. What Michigan State was really good at in that year was rebounding. This team's good at rebounding. This is like our highest Ken Pom team in like 10 years.
Yeah. Which
is just crazy because like 2 years, this team, Michigan State team, would have been like top 3, I think now. We're up to like plus 28.5 on Ken Pom. Be top 3 like every year the last 5 years, and this year we're like 7th.
Damn.
Vibes are relief. Just happy to be here.
Switching to Michigan, we'll do the recap of those games, and then we'll do previews of the Sweet 16 after that. Start with San Diego. Feels like it was a year ago.
Just start with their coach is awesome. I loved how happy that guy was during the game.
He's very chill. And And they had a
He
cool
was just
post game
happy
too.
to be there.
Yeah, they were, and they credit to them. They scrapped. So Michigan was up 10 with 8 minutes left to go in
That's
the game.
when I went to bed.
That's
Thought it was over.
The Gillen rules, like be 10 within 10, 5 within 5. So you're like, oh,
No.
up 10 with 8 minutes left against a plucky mid-major. We should be fine. I will say this in terms of watching hoops. And again, to set the context, haven't been in this sweat in a couple of years. There's been a drought where you've been checked out. So you kind of forget how intense it gets. Pretty surreal moment when they take the lead for the first time with 2:29 to go.
When I looked at the box score and saw they took the lead with 2 minutes left, I was like my jaw to the floor.
Real.
Could not believe
it.
It
didn't feel real when I was watching it.
It's
When I was
midnight.
watching the game, I was like, this team has no business being in the game.
Yeah, it's 11:30 at night. I have work the next morning. I'm like, this is it. I'm a loser. This is how my season ends. I will be at work tomorrow morning punching the clock.
Did you guys score like immediately next possession?
Yeah, Trey Donaldson banged a 3. Like Jay Nakin's left deep.
So deep.
So it's a deep shot.
UC San Diego finally hits that 3, takes the lead, and then Trey Donaldson just walked down the court, pulled, and then was like, "This is my shit!" Like he was like screaming. I was like, "Oh my god, Donaldson's a guy."
Yeah, that dude. I honestly think because that kid
on
McGee,
a big game, big shot stretch right now. Trey Donaldson.
Yeah, and it's weird because he has moments. He has moments in every 40 minutes where he like almost gets benched for LJ Kaysen. Like he's just not playable for stretches, and then end of 4 minutes, he's just like, all right, I think I'll just start making shots now. So like it's not like he's playing Purdue. He played great
every game. The last like 7 games, he's done something like that.
Purdue, he played great wire to wire, I would say, and then the other ones like he just turns it on when they need him, which has been crazy to have that level of finishing from him.
He's been doing the Hogarth too, but he makes the layup. Like if the team comes down and gets a big bucket, he just sprints to the other end and lays it in. It's unbelievable. I mean, he did it in the Maryland game, obviously, but he does that like during the game whenever they need a bucket. It feels like
he's hit like 3 Steph Curry night poses in like the last week of his life. It's just I know this is a generational run for this kid. And now he gets to play his former team, which is a cool storyline for later. So yeah, I thought the season was just completely over there, and I was like, this sucks, but I guess I have to tip my cap. It sucks when you're in that position because you, in any other game, you'd be dying for San Diego. Like they're a scrappy bunch of white dudes, 6'2", the McGee, and it also wasn't
not look like a D1 team at all.
Did not pass the eye test.
If I saw Bryant and that team line up together, I would think Bryant would beat them by 30.
Yeah. The craziest thing though is that going into the game, it was Wana Tate Jones is the guy you gotta stop.
That guy sucked.
They played so much better with him off the floor. When he fouled out, I actually said, oh shit, like this is about to be a game again. They're about to go on a run because they start actually running offense. And that kid number 13, shout out Tyler McGee, had like 25 points, hit a fadeaway.
That's the little point guard kid. Who's that little like point guard? He looked like Cormac.
Oh, number 3. Hayden Gray. So fast.
Found people. He would just dribble around in circles for 20 minutes and then find an open guy and they'd bang a 3. And I'd be like,
that's the kid that took his nameplate after the game.
Yeah, they're just a likable bunch of kids, guys. And they just
gave it their all. Builds, and not to be mean, but like some of their builds, like they're no sleeves, obviously, they're just wearing their jersey. I'm like, holy shit, like these kids like are in worse shape than me, it looks like visibly. And then they're just making shots. They've won 31 games in Division I basketball. It's like, what?
It was just crazy that like
good.
When you saw them come out, I was like, Vlad Golden might score 60 points tonight because he's 7 foot, he's built, like he can post these guys up, and like I don't know.
It looked like our rec team. It looked like our intramural team. What is this basketball team?
They don't really get tired. Like their matchup zone, they're always moving, trying to pick off passes. We did end up having
also playing a little zone. Like this is not. I could not believe it.
They play a flat up matchup zone. We had 14 turnovers, so we did have quite a few, and narrowly escaped. So biggest though is shout out to Vlad for making 2 just gigantic free throws while he was completely gassed, spent at the end of that game to get it to 68-65. Kind of interesting. A lot of people saying Dusty should have automatically fouled there. I don't know. I go back and forth on following up 3. Those kids were not going to miss free throws. And like, I just wanted that game to be over as fast as possible, whether that was overtime or not. So I didn't hate not following. The shot they got was bad, so it worked out. But like, I was thinking like, are we about to foul here? But we didn't.
Michigan State's done both options this year. They did not foul against North Carolina, and it did not work. They made a 3. We went to OT, and then we did foul against someone later in the season and won. So sounds like foul.
Foul. All right.
2 games
yeah.
Arizona fouled last night and it worked.
Yeah, that sucked. That took
Indiana
the wipe out
fouled
of the game.
against us when we lost to them at home, like every possession, and they made every single free throw. Every single time. It was unbelievable.
Speaking of unbelievable, Texas A&M, the Roddy Gale game. It's just a legend. A legend. As a Michigan fan, you can never say anything bad about him.
3 points next game? Like, there's just...
Maybe.
Or do we think this is Roddy Gale now?
I almost took him in the pool as a joke. Like, with my last pick, I almost was like,
Could you
Roddy
imagine?
Gale. Like, oh my God, he went nuclear today.
Dude, 26. 7 of 14, 4 of 6 from 3. Made all of his free throws. 4 rebounds to boot. Only 1 turnover. Just crazy. He did score 11 versus San Diego, and he did have 11 and 9 versus Purdue and Maryland. So he's definitely
11 and 9 is not 26 in a.
No.
You're down 10 with 13 minutes left in a round of 32 game. What he did was unbelievable. For how bad, he's not bad. Okay, he's a fine, average Big Ten basketball player, but to have a performance like that in a game that you're down double digits with 12, 13 minutes left, and your team just looks out of sorts, and he just starts hitting every shot he takes. I couldn't believe he scored 10 straight points at one point. 10 straight.
He only had over 26 once last year for Ohio State when he was in the lead scoring role. He had 32 in an overtime game versus West Virginia. So this was the most even going back to last year. The best stat is he's hit 3 threes since January 1st of this year. He hit 4 alone in this game. He outpaced what he had done since we hit the calendar of 2025. Just an out of body experience.
2 of 16 from 3, and he was 4 of 6.
He's a hero. He's a Michigan hero. Yeah, I feel so good for him because I tried to be nicer because I know it. I don't know. It sucks probably for a lot of kids getting shit. So I never was like, but I was actively in chats like, yeah, he can't play. Like there was multiple times throughout this season he just could not play. Some people saying
worse. He's also like injured. Doesn't he have like a leg problem or like?
Nah, was just losing his job to LJ Kaysen like throughout the year slowly,
God.
And then
I'd love to talk about.
I feel more confident in his minutes than I do Burnett's minutes right now.
What do you say, Cody?
If I was a Michigan fan, I would feel more confident in Gale than Burnett right now.
Burnett did not play great. Burnett got benched really in the A&M game. He played 13 minutes. He didn't meet the level of physicality that was needed in that. Depends on the moments. Burnett was fine in the Big Ten tournament, but he was catching like Gale the whole year. Like Ohio State fans hate his guts because he transferred. Michigan fans ended up hating his guts because he just wasn't what we thought we were getting. And for him to just pull this out in this moment. Like he really is a legend. It can never if he throws a clunker and goes 0 for 14 next game, I still can't say anything bad about him because of that moment. That's like we said 1,000 times. It was an unbelievable performance from the kid. Kept him in it. Couldn't believe it. It just was an out of body experience.
I even said early in the first half to the Michigan fan at the bar, I was like, "Yeah, dude, you guys would be so much better if Roddy Gale didn't play." I said that openly, and then in the second half, he's like, "What'd you say about Roddy Gale? What'd you say about him?" I was like, you shit on him all year. Like you can't now victory lap with him.
You can't.
Couldn't believe it.
Speaking of Kaysen, he in his up and down moments, this was probably the best game he's ever played. This was like the peak of his freshman year. Had 11 points when we needed him most. Had another big 3-pointer when we needed it, 4 or 5 from free throws. He defended his ass off too. He was like the only guy I think he came in and let the rest of the team know you don't need to be afraid of A&M as much as we are in the paint. Like he just throws his body into the lane and would get foul calls. This truly was a stunning game to win. I don't know how they did it.
I think what Michigan has lacked most of the year, like they have the 7-footers, and Danny Wolf is a skilled basketball player, no doubt. But what Michigan's like lacked is like an athletic dude that can just take it to the rim, blow by guys, like make plays. That is LJ Kaysen, and you need a guy like that on your team to win in March, and he did show up. His lows are low still, so there's still a lot of risk factor with playing him a lot.
But less lows. Less lows.
He reminds me of young Aaron Henry, like when Aaron Henry was on that 2019 team. To where like he does still make some bonehead plays, but he can hit a lot of really good shots and defend well. And he attacks too.
You would like to see his shot selection improve. Still not great, but he makes them. He makes them.
He doesn't know what he doesn't know. He doesn't fear anybody because he doesn't really. I don't think he thinks about who he's playing. I think he just goes. He gets ball and he goes. And that was just so fun. And
I've watched a lot of A&M this year, so that is not how I expected the game to go in multiple ways. For one, A&M stinks at scoring the basketball, so for them to have the little run they were having on offense and score almost 80 points, I was like, this team sits in the 60s like consistently. So
Pharrell Payne was a problem.
Yeah, they just stopped giving him the ball.
Off.
He was a beast, dude. I don't know why they stopped.
And Wade Taylor didn't even play well, so
he's in foul trouble really early.
Wade does that sometimes, though. He's a volume guy.
So yeah, I did not think A&M would just score the way they scored. Also, A&M's known for defense and rebounding, and defensively, you guys put up 91 on them. I was like,
56 and 1/2.
What is happening in this game? This is the complete opposite of what anybody would have thought would happen. I thought the game would be like 58-55.
We out rebounded them by 9, Alex. We beat up the boards. We faced the number one like turnover team in San Diego. We did turn it over a lot, but we beat them. And then A&M was like number one rebounding, and we somehow out rebounded them. They grow up in front of my eyes. I think
what's the greatest part is that Michigan's still not like shooting the ball well. They're not. I mean,
27%.
Aside, like in the last 10 games since like this like little stretch of Michigan being good again, they're shooting 26%. That is 359th out of 362 teams in the country from three. We talk about how Michigan State's bad at 3-point shooting. Michigan is 10 times worse in the last 10 games. And yet they're still pulling out wins it seems like every week now, every game. I mean, they've won 5 in a row now.
Yeah. But it was so dark after the 3-game losing streak.
7 of the last 10. So you won 7 of your last 10 shooting 26% from 3. Nearly dead last in the country.
I just don't know what happened in that reset between losing at senior night, getting embarrassed on the logo, and then playing Purdue. I don't know what
Trey
happened.
Holloman probably woke people up when he just screamed at or moved you guys away, and you guys got all pissed, and maybe did some soul searching and realized you guys were respectfully, and that you need to be tougher to win in March. And that is what it takes, and you guys have played a lot tougher. You have more of like an edge and a swagger. And before that little stretch, I mean, you guys just look like dead puppies walking around, just moping, just didn't care.
I mean, even Reuben Jones played pretty well against A&M, and that guy's a traffic cone. I can't believe that guy plays.
He plays good defense, but his shooting, he shouldn't be allowed to shoot from deep.
I still just don't.
He did hit one, though. Marissa said apologize. I kept yelling no when he would shoot.
You said he was going to hit the board one, and then
made it. I just... Like Michigan State and Michigan, and they're both like just not teams you look at are like, wow, these teams are awesome. You just don't think that when you watch these two teams, but they just are finding ways to win basketball games. So you have to credit them, but like it's not pretty.
I was listening to
the UC San Diego game was just not pretty at all.
No, well, the first half was beautiful basketball, and then just really I don't know what happened. Well, they got rid of Tate Jones and they started playing good offense.
And then
their offense sucked. It was just ISO ball with Tate Jones. It was brutal to watch. I was like,
13 minutes left in the A&M game, and Michigan's a dead man team. Like they're dead. They look like shit. You're like, lifeless. A&M probably going to win this game by 20 at this rate. They're scoring every possession. And then Danny Wolf and 1, and then Roddy Gale hits a 3, and then you're like, wait a second, and then you look up and Michigan's up 4. And I was like, what?
I have to go watch. So weird. I had to go watch that stretch again. I still haven't, but what I was doing in the Michigan chat, I was, again, long time since we've been in March. I was like, how am I going to handle this? I think I'm just going to dial in and check in at media timeouts. So I tried to break the game down into like manageable increments for me. At halftime, I was like, we just need to win 4-minute chunks. Just when we get to that media timeout, we were down 4 at half. I was like, just win each 4 minutes by a point.
Lost the first 4.
Win by a point, yeah. So I have the text. I said, lost the first 4 minutes by 3 points. So we're down 7. And I said, we won that 4 minutes by 3 points. Okay, so we claw back to 4.
We're barely went down 10 with 13 minutes left.
Yep. Then the next 4, we tied it. So we're still down 4. And then I was like, We won that
Bloody
4
hell.
minutes by 13 points. We just had a 4-minute stretch where we just won by 13 and then almost gave it up and then held on at the very end. But that 4 minutes of 13 points was like the entire game, just an out-of-body experience.
Do you know what great teams do, Graham?
Finish halves.
Great teams.
Someone said that on
finish
the
the last
broadcast.
4 minutes of the
Candace
first
Parker
half
said that.
and the first
Yes.
4 minutes of the second half. I didn't know she said that, but that's like what most coaches say.
They use that for football too, the middle eight.
The last 4, first 4. And Michigan State and Michigan have both been pretty good at that lately. Michigan State, that's what they've done all season. I don't know about Michigan.
We didn't, though. That's why this was so surprising. I thought we were dead after halftime. I was like, we need a run to start the half for this to be back and forth. I always think that, and we didn't. We got down 10, and then we had it in the middle of the half. It's crazy.
Yeah. Again, it's just like I watch this Michigan team. I see this team on paper, and Wilkinson said it many times. He's like, how does this team keep getting away with this? And the answer is I don't really know. I don't know. You need unbelievable performances from guys that have been bad all year, and that has happened. And Trey Donaldson hits a big shot. He hit another big shot in this game.
That layup was also unbelievable layup.
Just
how that got through.
Threw it up. I'm like, no way. No way. And then Wilkins, got mad because he doesn't want them to win. We do need to address the elephant in the room of if these two teams play together. Like,
I'm not there yet, but yes, we do. Not there
we
yet.
got to talk about that. Might ruin relationships.
It's just like Danny Wolf hasn't even played well. He's obviously a very skilled player. He's going to be a really good NBA prospect, probably a first-round pick. But he blows so many layups for being a 7-footer.
And then guys
trust
me, on my fantasy basketball team, this guy misses so many bunnies. I cannot stand it.
He does miss a lot. He did okay against A&M. He was solid.
He did better.
Them.
The first game he missed 20 bunnies. And I'm
that was frustrating because he was so much bigger.
He's also way too passive. For a guy that can hit a dark jumper anytime he wants, he passes way too much.
He turns it over way too much.
His jump shot, but I will give him credit. He rebounded. He wasn't scoring a lot. He had 11 versus San Diego and 9 versus A&M. So 20 boards out of the kid. I mean, also Vlad, we keep talking about the role players. Vlad has just been so consistent, 20 points, 10 rebounds for the last 6 games. And
he's a great player.
Don't want to jinx him, but he makes so many free throws. And it's great for a guy that big. What was my other point, though, I was going to say? I don't know. Dusty, when he went on his weird media tour, he kept saying, we haven't been able to practice in a few weeks because of our scheduling, with how many games. It was I don't know if it just 2 practices helped this team get back to whatever. I will say I listened to a bunch of recap shows today, and there was one point that stuck out to me that I kind of thought going in to the tournament. That's why the Big Ten tournament surprised me more, because all those teams knew how we played. But it is something to be said where when you scout team Michigan, especially on a quick turnaround, you can't walk through having 2 7-footers that do ball screens. So any team that Michigan plays, they step out there that they haven't played, they're gonna be like, oh shit, that's a 7-footer and that's a 7-footer, and they just run ball screens for 25 minutes of the game. That's just hard to simulate until you flip the switch and you jump the ball. So that kind of keeps them always in float in games, but it has been, like we just talked about, for 20 minutes, the role players stepping up, they're able to win. Because in the Big Ten, we saw even if you have Vlad scoring 20, you can lose by 15 points to Michigan State and Illinois and etc. It's awesome. I did not expect it. In terms of vibes, I agreed with Cam. We woke up after the San Diego game, and Cam said, "You know what, fellas, I am at peace with this season. I would love to go on a run. If we lose to Texas A&M, whatever. We hung a banner. We didn't get upset by the plucky 12 that everyone said they would." And I agreed. Now, I had to rephrase that from Marissa when I was acting psychotic during the game. Just because internally I'm good and at peace overall, when you're in the game, you want to win. Let's not get that twisted. When I'm going up against Auburn, in my mind, it's house money going into the game. But when the ball is tipped, you want things to go your way because you just don't want the run to end. But then when you sit back, if we could lose to Auburn by 15, I'll be like, you know what? Tip their cap. They made a Sweet 16. After winning 8 games last year, it went way better than I thought. So that's where we're at as Michigan fans. I think everyone's pretty much at that point. It's very much house money at this stage of the game for them. Much different for Michigan State, obviously.
It's not much different, but it's different. But we'll get into that if we're ready to preview.
Yeah. Well, especially if we talk about Michigan State, Ole Miss. The point spread is weird. I'm going to say this, and I'm not trying to piss you guys off. I've thought about this. I've thought about our friendships. I've thought about the career of Tom Izzo. This is Michigan State's winning this game. I've never been more confident of anything probably in my life in sports. I don't know what happens after that, but Ole Miss, I watched that game because I'm an idiot and I live bet Iowa State to double down when they were down like 8 points in the first half.
I did too.
I was like, yeah, they'll win this game. Ole Miss, I had on the little screen while watching you guys. Every time I looked up, they were just banging like fadeaway shots at the rim. They were making free throws. They shot insane. I was like,
Iowa State's also not good offensively.
That too, but they should have been good defensively and injured. And then I went and looked because I made the bet based off of Ole Miss's shooting stats not being that good this year. They're not like known for lighting it up. I mean, we're talking they shot 60% from the field, 58 from 3, 77 from free throw line. Scored 91 Iowa State. Like there's a bunch of that was the best effective field goal percentage game they've shot all year. I know you give a couple days off and it's not a quick turnaround. They're going to probably shoot 45% effectively from the field. I just know it in my bones. You know, Jace is not going to have another clunker. And I know people talk about analytics.
I feel great about.
And like the Ken Pom stuff as people of just trusting like that boy Nice watching ball off of no analytics. I know how this game goes. Ole Miss shoots like shit because of Michigan State's good defense. They shut down Padula. Michigan State wins probably by 10. And that's not even like jinxing. That's just honestly what I think. And I will definitely bet that. Might be my biggest unit size of the tournament. I just feel really good about it. Dude, I feel so good.
They don't really have a big that can like our bigs haven't played well, but I don't think they have a big that can really expose that. Their guards are smaller than what we've played. And that's the strength of our team is our guards defensively. And like initially, like you see Chris Beard and obviously like 2019, like that's probably my most vivid basketball memory because we went to Minneapolis for the Final Four, and obviously like
that's the only thing that's like Chris Beard.
I thought we were gonna roll Texas Tech, and then like we just kind of got punched in the mouth. But I went back and watched that game.
I've watched that game.
I watched highlights. I watched highlights from that game, and they were so long. Like and especially like that kid Owens, 11.
Team. Yeah.
He had like the best defensive game of his life and kind of just shut down Cassius, and Cassius was never really comfortable. Mooney was hitting like unbelievable shots, and he was
even then we got that to a
bigger guard
1-point game.
Yeah, and they that team had a lottery pick. Like they had Jarrett Culver. That team played unbelievable that day. Ole Miss doesn't. They
damn near won the national championship.
Yeah, they probably should have.
They had so much length. Yeah.
It's just such a different team than this Ole Miss team. Like this Ole Miss team, I think like it is Chris Beard. I think they're going to defend well. The only thing that makes me nervous is Chris Beard is a good enough coach. He might mix a zone look in at us. And like anytime I see Izzo against a zone, it makes me a little nervous.
We like zone.
I think we've broken that mold a little bit. So that doesn't make me too nervous. It's just like Iowa State, like nothing impressed me really. And like, I know Otzelberger gets a lot of hype. I believe he's a good coach, but I've never really seen it in the tournament. And obviously they had bad injury luck this year. So I'm not really that impressed with how they beat Iowa State. I thought Iowa State looked horrible offensively.
I mean, they start 5'11", 6'1", 6'4", 6'8", 6'9". Like they're little.
There's a good account. I might send the account to the chat because that was my laboratory for my bets, which ended up being okay on the day. But they're 270th out of 352 teams in effective height in terms of minutes and height. 322nd in overall rebounding. Ooh, for Ole Miss. Like I think this is just big boy bully ball, cone car, 15 points, all dunks. Just see ya.
Yeah. I like that we can go small and play Cohen at a 4 or 5 if you want. Like, and you can also get a lot of good minutes out of Kohler. So if you're not getting good Carson Cooper minutes, I think we can go small with Kohler, and he won't be that as bad of a mismatch as he was against New Mexico.
Yeah, as friend of the pod, Luke and I discussed. We did some scouting. Ole Miss on paper is a fantastic matchup for us. Like that's scary to say, but like they are a very good matchup for us. They're 32% in the last 10 games from 3, so they're not very good at shooting threes. They're even worse at defending threes. They give up 35% on threes. They stink at 2-point defense. Stink. 344th in the country in the last 10 games at guarding the 2. And that's all we like to do. They also foul all the time. Terrible. They have no true big. They shouldn't be able to like post up, do something on the block. Like we don't have to worry about that. It's just going to be our guards putting them in a torture chamber around the 3-point line. And you just have to hope Padula doesn't drop like 40 points on crazy threes.
But like, you just know Fears is going to make Padula so uncomfortable. He just like, I don't know what he does. He speeds up guys.
Yeah,
That's
and
the theory
thing
of why
is,
everyone
too,
shoots bad against you, because they play so fast. They're never settled and can make threes.
He is just so in guys' ass, pause, that like, it's just, I just don't see a world. I'm probably going to regret this, but like, he's just going to defend so
it
well.
Sucks
like,
how good I feel about it. But also another thing that I was like reading about last week before the tournament started was like when Michigan State's guards like get the board and run, and they run off makes, and they run, and they're running and running all game long. Like either the guards on the other team have to focus on like getting back and playing defense, which is then another reason why they all suck at shooting, because they've been running all game. Their legs get tired and they start just leaving threes short over and over because we're just running people up and down. And the dumbest stat ever in college basketball is like pace. Like who ranks high in pace. Like that is a stupid stat, because if you suck at defense, people will score very fast on you. Like pace isn't a real thing. It's really how many points do you get in transition. That's what matters. So I just wanted to get that little pace rant out of there. Michigan State's second in the country in transition points, but we're like 190th in pace. But if anybody watched Michigan State basketball with their eyeballs, they'd be like, this team is very fast. They run, they get out. And that's like how they do their damage. So I just wanted to get my little pace rant out of there.
Bert stats.
I also like
it's a good match. They should win. They should win.
They almost blew that game to North Carolina. North Carolina is not good this year, and we saw that. We saw that all year, and they almost choked that down the stretch. And the other thing is like neither of their game. Like I know the North Carolina game got close. Like they were never really tested in either of those games until like the last 4 minutes of the North Carolina game. That was like a 15, 20-point lead the entire game. We kind of got punched in the mouth a little bit to start, at least in the first half of Bryant and New Mexico. And we've seen this team in close games, and we've seen how they bounce back in the second half. And I just don't think Ole Miss is going to be ready for that.
And they have impressive wins. And they've won games that you're like, oh, they beat Kentucky by 14, and they scored almost 100 points against them. But Kentucky doesn't play defense. They beat Tennessee.
They also lost to Auburn in the SEC tournament when Auburn was bad.
Yeah, and they got held under Auburn.
Yeah.
They lost to Auburn at home by 30, 106-76. Like,
dude, I might run the same New Mexico blueprint. What's the team total on Ole Miss? Yeah, 70.5. I'm not sure they're going to score 70 points. They are streaky.
Memphis,
the only thing you can say is they're streaky. Like I saw against Iowa State, if they're hot, I don't like. They just make shots, but that can't happen twice in a row. That's not how average teams play basketball. You don't like have two generational shooting performances back to back in a tournament. You don't.
I know we're a few weeks removed, but they gave up 106 to Auburn at the end of February, and they also lost to the Solution and Vanderbilt, and we saw how bad Vanderbilt was. I just can't. I just have.
Yeah, I mean it's
hard to believe.
It's a layup.
This is how I'd put it. There's the version of Ole Miss where they get hot and we lose. Like the chance of that actually showing up is like 30%. Realistically, it's like 70% chance that team does not show up and shoot 60% from three and light us up. If that version doesn't show up, Michigan State should be able to find a way to win against any other version of them, because they're overall, they're not some like, they don't have a bunch of NBA talent. They don't have a big guy down low that they can throw to get a bucket at any point. Their best player is a 6-foot white point guard who
wears a headband, and that's your bit. He's not even doing the bit right. Like they show the crowd, everyone wears a headband. Like no, Michigan State wears headbands. Like good luck against Fears and Holloman with your headband.
Which the kid is very good, and like he could go off. He could have a little like Marcus Noel moment against us. Like the only comparison I have for this team is like Kansas State, who had two real like good players. And then that one third guy who made up like 23s against us.
Or whatever his name was. Yeah.
Like, that is what this game vibe gives me. But that Michigan State team didn't defend the way this team does. Like, AJ.
Backdoor alley-oop.
Dropped 30, but like he didn't play defense. Tyson Walker, not the greatest defender either. He's a little smaller. Like, I would rather have the guys we have now playing defense, excluding Jace. So I just it would take a lot for them to go 70% from three for us to lose. But that
help
could
me
happen.
with the spread It's 2.5 right now,
It's
which
weird
seems crazy
too.
to me.
Trapped,
But
Mike.
if you're me, this will probably be a whale. Do I wait? Because I feel like that number has better odds of moving in bigger for Michigan State than like getting closer to a pick'em. I don't know how America's going to spend a week on this game and decide that Ole Miss has a better chance to win. I feel like I might need to do it tonight after we're done recording. I think that might be when I do it.
It is
2.5 is nice. Like you win by 3. You win this game by 3.
I think it's an overcorrection of how we looked the last 2 games.
But like, I got more confident. I was like,
oh,
they just
like New Mexico and Ole Miss, like that would be a very good game. Like I don't even know that Ole Miss would win that game.
I think,
but maybe I'm just way off on them. I haven't watched enough tape.
I think they're trying to bait the public into saying like, look, Ole Miss, the 6th seed, just beat Iowa State,
scored 91,
13 points.
Yeah,
in that game they scored 91. Michigan State struggled with New Mexico. It was a close game until 3 minutes left.
Yeah.
They're going to try to bait and say like 2.5 points. I'll take Ole Miss money line.
They are, Cody. You're right. And they're like, oh, they beat Brand, North Carolina, who was like dog water all year and had a little plucky stretch at the end. And they beat Iowa State, who's missing arguably their best player. So
you also get the
North Carolina without Jace. So come on.
Like the SEC hype of like they have 7 of the 16 teams that are left. So it's like, I'm going to take the SEC team.
Yeah, I just feel so good about this game. I feel so good. And I'm not, this is not troll
That's what hurts. That's what hurts because
this is not. I bet on you guys last game. It worked great.
It'd just be so different if they had like a big, because like I know we're going to shut down their guards, but like last night we shut down their guards and they just kept going to Joseph. And like our bigs were going to get beat.
I mean, Cody, if we take away the first 10 minutes of the New Mexico game, our defense was fantastic the last time. Like New Mexico didn't score.
Brakefield, he scores 11, but like he's probably gonna be in foul trouble. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
he's gonna run over Jeremy Fears at half court at some point in this game. Like he's just going to. I've seen it happen.
What I do need Michigan State to do is they need to eliminate all doubt early. They cannot come out against a team like this that can get hot and let them and spot them 10 points.
No, it's fine because then I'll just live money line and make more money. I've seen that.
I need this Michigan State team to come out like they did against LSU in the Sweet 16 in 2019, 9-0, and then run it out.
Iowa State did that.
That's the game it should be.
It was like 15-3.
We are better than Iowa State. We are better.
We have the best all-around player on the floor in Jay Nakins, I think. I know he's not obviously that good offensively, but his defense makes up for it. So I have the ultimate confidence in him.
And Jason's going for 15. Let's not bullshit ourselves.
Is whatever Jace's over-under is, I'm taking that over.
Unless he actually has the yips, which we could consider. Like, what if he did just forget?
Different
he also had a
like Mike.
game sealing and one at the end of the game. And then
he changed
also
his shoes
3 free throws.
At halftime of the Bryant game. You guys see that?
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
Got to figure out the shoes. I don't know if it's like Mike's situation, but
there was a rip in his shoes.
It's also Cohen Carr homecoming, which is underrated. He might go crazy.
If there was a prop bet for over 1.5 dunks or 2.5 dunks, I would be all over that.
I will be watching Ole Miss before I go to bed tonight. But
Kohler's going to feast on the offensive glass. I can see it already in my head.
The problem, I don't even think we mentioned it, but like the rebounding, Michigan State should dominate the glass. And the way they dominated Bryant in the second half, where they just got like, I think the rebounding split was like 52-30 rebounds, Michigan State. Like that is what I expect. If your shot doesn't travel with you, defense and rebounding will, and that should at least keep you in the game the whole game. There's no way they're going to blow us out.
Probably will be quicker preview here for Auburn, Michigan, at least from my side. Like it's almost the opposite of what we just said. I don't like this. And they're the number 1 overall seed in the country for a reason. Like I said, house money. The only thing I can say, what I was hanging my hat on is this Auburn team is so toxic. I'm invested in this because of Marissa's connections in their family. Crazy setup for all of us that Michigan, Auburn, Michigan State are all in the same. Thought about trying to go to these games. Way too expensive on a short notice. The tickets are like $700. You do get 2 games, but it's insane to sit like in the back row. I'd much rather watch at home in that case. But the Auburn team, they beat Alabama State. Dylan Cardwell, their center, comes out and says like, Chad Baker-Mazara and Janai Broom don't want to be here. Like they need to wake up or we're going home. And like their assistant coach, Bruce Pearl's son, I think Stephen Pearl, like ripped them all as well. And then there was an article about how there was a team breakfast that a bunch of people didn't go to, and Dylan Carwell started ripping people again. So like this team is actively fighting each other, but like that's how they thrive. They just love chaos. They got in a fight on their team playing. Like this team has a bunch of crazy egos. And I was like, maybe Michigan can catch them like if they're slipping, but this game's in Atlanta. There's going to be so many Auburn fans there because this fan base is like all bought in on this team because their football program is dog shit right now. So it's like they have turned from a football school to basketball in the last couple of years because of Bruce Pearl. And like, I just don't see how they come out flat in a Sweet 16 in this spot. Maybe if they were tired for the Elite Eight, maybe when they play you guys, potentially they come out flat. But like, I don't know. Like I said, they have to figure out how to deal with 2 7-footers. Janai Broom's like pretty big, but like they don't have another. Dylan Cardwell's also big, but maybe they can he's slower of foot than Danny Wolf. So I don't know how it's going to work out. I don't feel confident. They have so much depth as well, similar to how you guys do. Like they're just going to keep rolling guys off the bench, whereas we're going to, unless Roddy Gale plays sweet again, then we're limited to like 6 guys. So I don't know. I might bet Auburn spread as well. I don't feel as confident.
What's that,
Michigan
7?
8.5 right now, but
that's huge.
I kind of
Michigan's like a rattlesnake.
Game.
Michigan like doesn't die.
Michigan.
I mean, I did bet on Michigan the first 2 games just because I was like, this team has Tigers blood. I just don't know if it's going to hold up against the number 1 overall seed.
Yeah, Michigan fans are going to like what I have to say, but realistically, Michigan has no business winning this game. Like, there's on paper, Auburn is a better basketball team. They have better athletes. They have more depth. They have like. They don't have an answer for 2 7-footers, but they have a lot of depth and size to counter that. They have decent guard play. That's the only thing. It's like Auburn's guards are not that great where you're like, if you're relying on. Yeah.
He comes off the best show and he's a freshman.
Denver Jones is up and down. So like, I don't know. Like he
guards hard
really
though. He's like maybe they're Akins. He guards his ass off.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, again, Auburn on paper should win this basketball game.
Oh, good.
It's in Atlanta, too.
We're talking about the number 1 overall seed.
They don't run a lot of offense, though. Maybe we could UConn them to death. We just run sets.
A month ago, we're talking about Auburn and Duke in the national championship. It's a lock. So,
yeah.
Now, that obviously, they lost a couple games, so it makes it seem like they're more reasonable. Texas A&M beat them a couple weeks ago. That was the day after they won the SEC championship regular season. So how did I into that game? I don't know.
No, knowing this team,
as Cody has said, while it seems that Michigan is not going to win this basketball game, they keep pulling shit out of their ass. And if they did win, I wouldn't be surprised. I'd be like, yep, this is just the team of destiny. They just keep pulling shit out. And I want it on the record. I'm not rooting for Michigan to win. Like, I was fine with them getting to where they are now, but I can't put myself, like, if we win the first game, if we lose the first game, I don't care what Michigan does. Good for you guys if we win the first game, I can't, even if Auburn's a worse matchup for us, I can't go through the pain or excite. I cannot. Physically, my heart would not be able to handle a Michigan State Elite Eight game. It would not be able to. I would pass out.
It's just like the hockey game last year. Like, nobody gives a about college hockey. And
yeah,
we played the
as much as hoops, yeah.
And then Michigan beats Michigan State, and all the Michigan fans just come out of the woodwork. It's like in the same shit. It's gonna happen. It's like because we're like, oh, we got the regular season banner, and then Michigan fans are just like, okay, well, we got the tournament banner, and we beat you in the tournament.
Yeah, like I'm playing a Texas Ryder Cup this weekend. So on Saturday, my alternate shot partner is a Michigan fan. And if I have to think about that all Saturday, that we are playing tomorrow in this game, like I will be so rattled and so anxious. So it would be so bad.
It would be different if it was a Sweet 16 around a 32 game. The fact that it's for a trip to San Antonio is what it would be.
Would it be...
Also, what I want as a Michigan State fan and what we have always thrived in March is being the underdog. We have not gotten that chance this whole tournament. We need to play Auburn and finally go under the radar a little bit and be able to like shock people like we did against Duke. Like that's what we need.
Would it be better if we had split the regular season series in your head? Because
it would have been better if we played in the Big Ten tournament and lost to you in like the final.
Yeah.
And then I'd be like, oh yeah, we will win now. But I'm also just nervous about like, again, I think we're a good matchup for you. Like we should win that game most of the time we play.
That's why I don't want it either.
Just how we match up. But the way like the last game ended and like,
oh yeah, it'd be toxic.
I could see LJ Kaysen just going off or like Trey fouling out or getting a tee. or like Michigan like deciding they're anymore and then just like banging around in the glass and using it can't happen. That matchup can't happen. I can't have it.
I respect you for saying it. I'm surprised you were that.
I don't want it. I do not want it at all.
That sucks because there'd be so many little details that we obsess over in the rivalry that I'd want to like dial in on that for that game outside of the fact it's for a Final Four trip. Like I want to see how Dusty and Tom interact, but the fact that it would be on like that stage with like everyone watching.
No, like it'd be phenomenal for the rest of the country. Phenomenal game to watch. Not for us. Like not for me. Like I don't want it. You can't want that.
I don't know where I would watch it.
A Michigan fan would want it because again, it's hard to beat a team 3 times.
No, we don't.
The whole
want
bit.
It.
It's just like
still house money though. It like we would have all the expectations.
We have all the
money
expectations.
for Michigan.
We lose. You guys are in our ass. We win. It's like yes, you were supposed to win.
The house money goes out the window when it's your rival in state. But
it's like January, February, March, or January, February Izzo. We run with that. And then it's like Dusty May. It's like he got swept in the regular season by Izzo, but then he won the one that mattered. And it's like they have that to continue building on.
No, but you realize, though, if Michigan were to lose, which would be the likely spread, then like even if you guys had 5 years of shit, and if we didn't reach a Final Four, you would still just be like, yeah, well, how about that Elite Eight? Like that's the type, like with Duke and North Carolina, like Tar Heels have, like unless Duke wins the title this year, like the Tar Heels have that forever until they finally win a title.
Yeah. Yes, but the problem is like the off chance of you lose. Like again, if these two teams played 10 times, I would pick Michigan State probably like 7 out of 10. Like they're just built to beat Michigan.
They won the league by 3 games.
If they do lose, it would just be it would be the worst day of
But it'd be
life.
The best if you won. It'd be the best.
It'd be great, but like
it'd be unbelievably good if you won.
Amount of stress. I wouldn't enjoy like an ounce of that game.
The other thing too is if they play again, it's like at least the last 2 times I'm like, oh, Roddy Gale is ass. Like I know I'm not getting anything from Roddy Gale. Like I don't even have to worry about him. I'd like just worry about Danny Wolf and Golden. I couldn't even rely on that. I wouldn't even be able to rely on that. You don't know what Roddy Gale you're getting.
Yeah.
Well, not the players, but like I'm just thinking like if I was a player, like the expectations on a Michigan State player in that game would be so high. So high. Like you can't lose this game. If I'm playing, I'm rattled. Like Tom
even said
that I have to win this game.
Because you would have every single alumni there. Like Michigan doesn't have that like maybe that'd be cool if the Fab Five and everyone was there.
It would be arguably the biggest Michigan State basketball game since the North Carolina championship in 2009.
Tom said Draymond texted him before Friday and said, "Don't mess this up. Like what we do this time of year." Just imagine like that pressure.
There's a lot
of
pressure
kids.
Already on Michigan State, and that would it would make me crumble. I can't speak for the team. I hope they wouldn't, but like I would crumble.
So this is kind of how it went down in the Michigan chat. Cam started. He said, "Hand up! I do not want any part of Sparty." Friend of the pod.
No one wants this.
Cody with the K said, "If we make it for them to play a Final Four, I would like it. It would be so sick. Tensions would be an all-time high." He did acknowledge. He goes, "It's not like football though. We could lose some Spartan friends in this exchange because basketball is a different level. It feels like historically."
Yeah, I would not talk to anybody for months.
Cam posed the all-encompassing question. Am I crazy for saying I would rather lose to Auburn than win against Auburn and lose to Michigan State? And
I would rather lose to Ole Miss than get to the Elite Eight and lose to Michigan. 100%. 100%. There's no difference.
For me, it's easy because
no difference between a Sweet 16 and an Elite Eight. None.
Yeah, I feel like people are being disingenuous if they say that's a loser mentality. I don't know. I feel like it's
I don't care. I would rather lose the first game than lose to Michigan to not make the Final Four.
I like that we play first though, because God, if Michigan was that 7:00 tip and they won, and it's like,
oh my god,
yeah, then our players don't have to worry about it. Yeah, our players wouldn't have to worry. We wouldn't have to worry.
Do you think that could give? Do you think Dusty? You think State wins and Dusty says like, "This is your guys' chance to get redemption before we go out and play Auburn"?
Another reason I'd be nervous.
Yeah. Then we just go belt to ass on Auburn for the chance.
Also,
then we're exhausted and lose by 15 again.
Just in case we do get to this, I'm just going to get my chirp out now against Michigan fans. So I was thinking about this the other day while I was using the restroom while I was taking a dump. Our Michigan State group chat, I was thinking about this. every person in our Michigan State group chat went to Michigan State. And I was like, oh, what about their Michigan chat? Not a single person
We've done this
in
before.
your chat
We've done
has even gone to Michigan. I just realized that. I was like, what a difference of chats there.
It is.
No wonder why this game would matter more to us.
Yeah,
Basketball's also like our thing.
Overall, yes, 100%. Yeah, and Michigan's a football school historically.
And I would fully expect, like, maybe not Cody, but like I would fully expect you to be very upset if you lost, like if you got it. But like the friendship aspect, like obviously I don't think friendships would be ruined.
I wouldn't say a word the entire game.
You know,
but like if I got chirped, I would be so emotional, sensitive. Like I would not handle it well. I would not handle it well. There's so many. There's just too many negatives. Like I think the negatives vastly outweigh the positives of that game happening.
Until if you do win, then it's like this is awesome.
Yeah, there's only one outcome that makes it better is we winning. But
yeah,
the rest.
Yeah,
but the 40 minutes is hell.
I don't know if I can
win,
watch it.
Just so you know, I'm rooting like hell for Auburn to win.
That might have to be like Alex UCLA. I might have to watch that by myself. I don't like Marissa and I are pretty civil, but
I couldn't watch
a different level.
Anybody. I couldn't
watch a different level of game. I don't even want to watch. We were talking about going to bars for the Friday night or something, and I was like, Marissa, like I'll go watch the state game, but I don't want to watch Michigan lose by 15 to Auburn with 15 Spartan fans around me. So I'm gonna have to like go somewhere else.
Watching the Friday games with a Michigan fan and a Purdue fan in my little condo for this Golf Ryder Cup. Michigan fan, Purdue fan, and a Florida fan. And
that's kind of cool.
Watching those games, boy, tough.
The also horrendous part is like you guys are favored, not by a lot. You should be favored by more. But if Michigan were to beat Auburn, it'd be like the biggest win I've seen in like 5 years, and I'd get to enjoy it for a second because I'd be like, oh, we got to play state in a day.
I would only get to enjoy Michigan State winning against Ole Miss for however long it took for your game to end, and then it's immediately over. Like you have no happiness. I'd be right back down to no happiness.
Yeah, like beating Auburn would honestly be like euphoric to upset them in Atlanta, but then it's like, oh, we got to play state.
I'm getting stressed out just thinking about the possibility.
If we win and it's just to play Auburn, that feels kind of like house money to me because like in the Elite Eight is a deep run
spot.
Like it's just you're just kind of a gamble, like a ball can tip one way or the other, and that's like how you make a Final Four. And like that's kind of how it happened. Like last time we went, like RJ missed the free throw, and like that's kind of what sealed it for us. So it's like. You need something like that to happen against Auburn. So I'm not upset if we beat Ole Miss and lose to Auburn. Like they're the number one seed. You're not supposed to beat them. But oh my god,
But also
I can't
too,
do it.
Like if Michigan State wins and then Michigan wins, like we're talking about a dream path for Michigan State. You go 15, 10, 6, 5 to get to the Final Four. Not to mention. Like you had that path and you lost to Michigan, we would never hear the end. Never. It would never go away. It would be talked about every year in March, which would ruin my favorite thing on the planet every year for the rest of my life.
I would rather play Duke in that game than Michigan.
I would rather play anybody else.
I'd rather play Florida.
I want to do a poll on our account to see. Like I don't know how to phrase it though.
Some people are crazy people. They want that, but I don't.
I think the more spicy is the like, would you rather lose the Sweet 16 game than lose to your in-state rival to go to the Final Four?
Yes.
Like,
because there's no difference between a Sweet 16 and Elite 8. Like there is, sure.
24 hours of happiness.
Yeah, but I wouldn't get to have happiness going
and existential dread in case you lose the next one.
Yeah.
It's not even 24 hours because it's like our game will finish at 9:00 and then Michigan's ends at like 11:30.
5 o'clock on Sunday on CBS for the world to watch.
2.5 hours until I see Michigan win, and then it's like, oh,
it's going to be the last game going into the Final Four. The last Final Four team to punch a ticket would be an in-state rivalry on CBS with the number one crew. That is like the most shit your pants nervousness you could ever happen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, Final Four would be.
You want it. You want it bad.
I don't really want it.
What would you do? Would you rather lose to us in the Elite Eight? I think yes. I think for a Michigan fan, losing us to us in the Elite Eight is a lot better for you than us losing. I feel like it's way different.
Yeah,
We're
long
supposed
term,
to win.
you can try to cope and be like, they're like I said after the Big Ten, they're in different tiers. Michigan's just gone this crazy 5 stretch here where like they're kind of breaking my brain again, like they've done all season. Like, are they good? They definitely did beat the Minnesota Vikings 2022 allegations because Minnesota Vikings 2022 does not pull off this stretch. So they're over that. But yeah, I don't know. I want to keep seeing them play basketball. It's fun. I don't want to deal with like
just
my
committee
head.
for putting us in the same region. So stupid. Like I could play in the Final Four. That would be more exciting to me because
no, that'd still be terrible.
Yeah, you get a week of that though, and then I would expect Michigan State would be able to handle that in a week versus you guys.
Honestly, any matchup like Duke, North Carolina, it's like crazy they never met until that moment. Like playing your
because they shouldn't
rival.
be on the same side. They should never be in the same region for one, and they should not even be on the same side of the bracket. If they were ever going to meet, it needed to be in a national championship game, which would be very unlikely. It almost happened the one time, 2013. Both lost to the teams that made the national championship. I just can't.
Scary. 2 wins away.
Happen. And this Michigan just keeps getting away with shit. They should not even be here.
I do love that. I love that.
That's the worst part. Like if you watch our group chat every time Michigan wins, you're like, there's no way they keep making this dream like still alive. Like that we could still play each
The
other.
chat was pretty quiet in gambling after, and like obviously I was talking in the Michigan one. I was like, I have a feeling that state chat's like, God damn it, they just keep winning games
because we
getting away with it.
If you were on the other side of the bracket, I would have been fine with whatever you did. I didn't care as long as you didn't win the national championship. And no, you're just on our side, and we decided that we both just have to win one game, and we're going to play each other to go to the Final Four. Just an unbelievable phrase to think about when we started this season, Michigan State could be playing for a Final Four less than a week from today.
That's a great way to close the show. Cheers to 205.
205.
Cheers.